The following program is rated TVMA. Viewer discretion is advised.
El Presidente! Woo! My God! Let's go! Yeah! United Hard Hats of America! If you a real man, motherfucker, stand up! Grace your cup, grab your nuts, that's your character. Hard hats around here is all we wear, bro. That's your call, big, call me J Wall. You can tear it up and I don't give a fuck, bro. We gon' man up, and if they ask who did it, we gon' stand up. Any motherfucker got a problem, put their hands up. Woo! You got something to say? Hit the app today. We gratefully appreciate all the comments and the calls, so please be safe. Greet the show right, y'all. Hey, what we say now? U.H.O.A.
What is really good, men and ladies, boys and girls, dogs, cats, chickens, and rats, and not just the rats of the animal variety, but that's another thing. Welcome to another edition of Monday Night Mayhem. I am your gracious and most appreciative host, U.H.O.A. Apocalypse. Y'all see me throwing it up, big A. There it is. I am the enigmatic, pragmatic, acrobatic, and if you really old school, slightly craftmatic host of this insanely enjoying program tonight. Mayhem is back in the building twice a month on the U.H.O.A YouTube channel. Simulcast also, if you follow us on Instagram as well. So first and foremost, mega enormous shout out to the man that runs the boards for the U.H.O.A channel, Mayhem, Truck Stop Stories, and other assorted craziness. My man, Mr. Earth somebody. Big Earth, let the good people know what's really good, bro. Big Earth, react.
Hello,
There he is. Mic check. You good, bro? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
All right, what's up? What's good with you?
Everything's easy, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. Once again, as usual, it's always good to be in your presence, fellow U.H.O.A brethren. This edition of Mayhem, Mr. Earth Somebody and myself, once again, another awesome collaborative effort. I really like working with you on putting these shows together. I will remind the audience live, and if you catch us on the replay, we do our diligence in putting these shows together, okay? From a factual standpoint, this is just our memories and recollections of the recorded events that we discuss in the glorious ring of Mayhem. So much homework put into this show right here, because Big Earth, can I let them know? Can I let them know? See, I got the big gun tonight. Y'all see that? I got the big gun tonight. Want to know why? Okay, because with this Mayhem thing, we've been proceeding and plodding along, in an efficient pace. But now, Mr. Earth Somebody and myself and other U.H.O.A brethren have decided to kick it up a notch. Okay? For all you hard-working people out there, you toil, you practice your skills, you work on your trade, you trust your judgment, hoping that big payoff will come, a la promotion, raise, whatever the case may be, and everyone seeks to reach the pinnacle of their trade. So I feel, and tying that into tonight's Mayhem, why the big guns? Why the work reference? I'll tell you why. Because tonight, Mr. Earth Somebody and myself, UHOA Apocalypse, have decided to showcase what we decided is called headlining Mayhem. Man, another dope graphic, bro. How you keep doing it? Like, how do you keep doing it? How do you keep doing it? Now, headlining Mayhem. Now, once again, a reference to, that work situation. For years you toiled Okay, you put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and now you've reached that peak. So Mr. Irk, somebody, and myself have decided to do is we will discuss hopefully 10. Now, this is not a top 10. We're not saying this is the top 10 greatest matches of all time. No, that is not what we're saying. Because I will reiterate, we don't really want this to be a debate show per se. Now, while healthy banter is good and we welcome it to a certain level of degree, no. We're not going there. This is headlining Mayhem, okay? And tonight we will discuss, hopefully, in its entirety, 8 to 10 matches that we feel help change the wrestling landscape. Or if you reference to a few shows back, help contribute to the evolution of Mayhem, okay? Once again, a lot of digging, a lot of homework. I personally started this process Thursday night, Friday morning, because when you want to talk about discussing the top 10 in any category, there is a lot to sort through between WCW and the WWF as we focus on the 90s heydays of professional wrestling. Lots of great matches, whether televised, whether pay-per-view. So Mr. Irk, somebody, and myself, really did a lot of digging. And these are 10 matches that, like I said, it's not an all-time top 10. These are just 10 matches that we feel not only us, a lot of old school wrestling fans stick in their head, a lot of memories. These are matches we feel resonate with the audience, kind of captured our imagination as wrestling fans growing up. And if it's all right with you, Mr. Irk, somebody, can we get it started? Can we get it cracking? Or is there anything you want to add before we get going? No, yes. I think we have a little bit.
We can go ahead and go in, man.
Say what?
I said we can go ahead and go in, man.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and go in. All right. Now, like I said earlier, ladies and gentlemen, trying to create a healthy balance between WWF and WCW. It's not a competition. We just want to highlight just some of our favorite moments from that 80s, 90s heyday, and discussing headlining Mayhem. Okay. All matches discussed tonight have several commonalities. When you talk about the superstars and legends that participated in the matches, when you think about the time period at the time of these matches, when you think about the background, storylines, and other circumstances to help create that energy to where not only the performers, okay, but these companies rose to another level. I'm going to get it cracking off first. A lot of note taking, so please be patient with me. It's a lot to go through. I'm going to do my best to try to navigate this twisted road of headlining Mayhem, but I'm going to get it started.
And we're going to let everybody know that we're headlining right now. We're doing the headlining show, but we got 10 matches that we're going to be looking at. But right now, in this stage of the game, we're going to be doing 5 on 5.
All right, that's fine. We'll discuss 5. I will do my best to pick the cream of the crop, try to create a healthy balance, like I said, between the two major companies at that time, WWF and WCW. So while we're scaling it down a little bit, it will still be no less enjoying and exciting and hopefully a little informative. So without further ado, I will get right into it. I'm going to start with a WCW match. Oh, well, we're going to start. Okay. Screw it. Mr. Irk throwing me the curveball, trying to keep it sharp. I appreciate that. All right, y'all. Let's do it. Y'all know the names. Y'all know the faces. Y'all know the time. June 1998. Kids are fresh out of school. I'm pretty sure they're more than gotten on your fucking nerve already. And one glorious Sunday, pay-per-view. Millions on pay-per-view, and those who were lucky enough to be in attendance witnessed definitely one of the greatest matches of all time. The Undertaker, my all-time favorite, and another one of my just great favorites all time, period. Okay, Mankind, aka Mick Foley, aka Do Love. Y'all know the 3 faces of Foley. This one's near and dear to my heart personally for a plethora of reasons. Of course, off top, this is The Undertaker. This is my favorite wrestler of all time. Knowing he originally got his start here in the local territories under the USWA and seeing his meteoric rise through the wrestling world. With Mick Foley entering the picture, even if you weren't a regular WWE viewer at the time or whatever, if you were a wrestling fan, a true wrestling fan, and followed it, you were more than aware of Mick Foley and his arrival in the WWF. While some may say better late than never, definitely made an immediate impact. And this match was a symptom of it. Contrary to popular belief, this was actually WWE's second Hell in a Cell taking. The first one that happened the previous year before, of course, with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Quick little backstory on Hell in a Cell as far as a match. This is literally one of the several specialty matches that the Dark One, the Phenom himself, The Undertaker, helped create. From its concept to the structuring, even some of the choreography, things of that nature. All right. Hell in a Cell, round 2, Foley and The Undertaker. It's an all-time great match for just too many reasons to name. You know, the physicality alone in ring. Okay. Intensely severe. They had an intense rivalry going on at the time. I believe Undertaker was WWE champion at the time. Later on, they had a series of matches, another specialty match, the Boiler Room Brawl. But Hell in a Cell burns in the memory of WWE, not just WWF fans, just wrestling fans, period. All right. If you've ever seen this match, look at that shot. This was a very pivotal point in the match. Obviously, the action that left the ring escalated up the cell itself. Now, keep in mind, standing on top of that cell, if you were to stand, there you go. We're going to get to that shot in a minute. But to really give you an idea, you know, Mr. Earth, somebody's got a background in construction. We discussed scaffold matches before. So when you think about the verticality of a structure like Hell in a Cell, it is basically a big fence, and fences sink in. They are not, you know, flat and concrete. They have springs. So when you think about standing and resting on the top of that thing, this is the point in the match where obviously, you know, scaling the top of the cell. Mr. Irk, somebody, if I'm right, I believe this is right before the first of 2 amazing falls by Mick Foley. Now, we've alluded to this match and this moment on previous Mayhems. This is when The Undertaker hurled Foley off the top of that cell, 25, close to 30 feet, through the announce table. The level of timing, trust, and choreography to pull that move off alone makes this match legendary, okay? This is not being on the ring floor and putting someone through a table with like a power bomb or a suplex or a DDT, okay? This is measuring a man, and these are 2 big guys. Undertaker, 7 foot, 300 plus pounds. Foley at the time weighed just a shade under 300. So he's at the 290 plus mark. And you have to coordinate and time. When you think about the physics of yourself and having to hurl another man off the top of a 25-foot structure through an announce table. I'm not gonna lie, I thought Foley was dead. And I think a lot of people felt like I thought Foley was dead. He laid motionless for a few minutes. We all know eventually he got up to continue the match. But that first one, it also brought a new respect to Mick Foley. A lot of WWF guys considered the promotions he had wrestled in between New Japan, his WCW stints, his ECW stints, as quote unquote non-legitimate, which I find arrogant and bothersome. The point of the matter being that fall, that throw actually off the top of the cell through the announce table, that alone cemented Foley's legendary status. I feel not just in the wrestling world, but that WWF locker room. A lot of flack with new guys coming in from other promotions, and Foley definitely earned any and everyone's respect for that. I just can't imagine the pain this man felt with everything he had took in that match up to this point. Him and Taker going back and forth, and then to be hurled off the top of the cell to an announce table. Later on, yes, look at that. I mean, that is just one of the great still shots in professional wrestling history. I understand how this moment is.
I feel like when I saw Mick Foley get thrown off that cage for the first time, it made him the baddest motherfucker in the WWF.
El Presidente gracing our presence once again. Thank you, J-Wall. Chime in. Continue, kind sir.
But I remember watching that match vividly, my friend. And like I was watching this build up because you know how they build up the fights and the characters, you know, when it comes to like the pay-per-views. So
right, particularly your specialty match.
Yeah, they were building Mick Foley up kind of like all year going into that shit. And he was getting more dicey and like the Monday Night Raws and shit like that.
Right.
And he was getting a little bit crazier and he was getting more airtime. But man, when it came to that fight and he was on top of that motherfucking cage and the Undertaker threw his ass off that bitch, it was like, man, that motherfucker right there is a hardcore son of a bitch. He was like the closest thing at that time in the WWF to anything like the ECWs or the hardcore backyard wrestling and videos. You see the motherfuckers getting thrown off a roof and shit onto some mattresses. Like he was the only motherfucker at that time in the WWF. Because if you think about it, that was before the Dudley Boys really showed up. The Hardy Boys showed up. Like he was the first one in that mainstream WWF doing that hardcore wrestling shit.
See,
because if you looked at it, and I know he's your boy, but the motherfucker and the marquee wrestler, the big wrestler in that fight would hands down be the Undertaker, and he was solidified already in the WWF, and he was not the motherfucker that fell off that cage. It was the other motherfucker who was trying to make a name for himself.
Right. And like J Wall pointed out, and I just want to kind of reiterate on that point real quick. With Foley wrestling and other hardcore promotions per se, and already having that persona, Vince was a little leery as far as hiring him, because in hiring him, you already know that he's going to be influential in regards to specialty matches and kind of bringing that, like you said, more to mainstream WWF. Vince had been reluctant to have matches displayed like that in ring, but you know, with this being part of the Attitude Era, okay, and we talking about, hey, got to beat out WCW. All right, this was one of those pivotal moments. You know, Foley's hiring, his performance in Hell in a Cell against the Undertaker. I always allude to the second great fall in that match, which is when Undertaker choke slams him through the weak point of the top of the cell. Once again, you're talking about taking a 20-plus foot drop straight down. If you've seen the Undertaker choke slam people, study the landing that the opposing wrestler has to nail, particularly with being flat on the back, arms out. Okay, it's just a hard maneuver to master, and then to have to pull that off from 20-something feet in the air. One quick note, and towards the conclusion of the match, the Undertaker, after choke slamming Foley on a bed of tacks, backstage, they had a brief conversation, and Undertaker was just amazed that Foley could persevere through that match, particularly after that first fall, Taker hurled him off that cell, like J Wall talked about. That is literally, from a photogenic standpoint, one of the greatest wrestling moments ever. Undertaker, Foley, Hell in a Cell 98. Y'all know what it is. You remember that match. You know how great it is. If you don't remember that match, you need to find a way to look it up and watch it through and through. All right. Headlining Mayhem continues. Okay, we keeping the train rolling. Got El Presidente who stopped by for a little bit. Mr. Irk Somebody,
Yeah,
always
man.
working the boys, trying to keep a brother straight, trying to keep us looking good, keep us looking fresh. Okay, so if you are ready, Mr. Irk Somebody, if you could put up the graphic for the next match, we will discuss. We're gonna try to teach these people how to headline Mayhem. I gotta learn how to headline. Can't be a jobber your whole life. At some point, you gotta elevate. You want top billing, all right? Milk is chilling. Kids is chilling. What more can I say? Top billing. Yeah, that's more old school audio too. More homework for you kids. But anyway, next match we will discuss. Ho 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 ho. Woo.
Hey yo.
Yo. Hey yo.
Hey yo.
Look, I got a toothpick. There it is. I actually had one right in front of me. Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, El Presidente's favorite wrestler. All right, sarcastic side note. But real talk. Shawn Michaels, Heartbreak Kid, Razor Ramon, a.k.a. Sky Hall, later on to be one of the spearheading members of the NWO with his WCW jump. This match, I'm so glad that as far as not only digging this one up, I'm really glad that Mr. Irk Somebody decided to have this one make the cut. First and foremost, Jay Wall alluded to it earlier when we discussed the Undertaker Foley Hell in a Cell match. Vince Slint's Shim Sham's reluctance to have that more hardcore, bloody style until the hiring of Mick Foley. This ladder match, yes, that's right, 1994, a ladder match. I know a lot of y'all thinking ladder matches probably didn't start happening to the 2000s or so. It was sadly mistaken. To my surprise, though, I was surprised that the WWF, because this was still under the WWF banner, Shawn Michaels, aerial assault, baby. Okay. In fact, y'all see in the background, the graphic, that's WrestleMania 10. Okay. So this is beyond huge. Everyone knows WrestleMania is the WWE Super Bowl. This is what you worked all year for, to be on that roster. And so the headline of WrestleMania match. And a lot of people feel this match stole the show. It was original concept, like I said, 94, WWF doing a ladder match. I had seen ladder matches in other companies and federations. This is literally the first WWF ladder match. Intercontinental title on the line. The Heartbreak Kid, Razor Ramon, Super Kick versus the Razor's Edge. Thoughts, memories from the panel, please. Anybody? Jay Wall. Nope.
Well,
Hello.
I don't remember this. I don't remember this match specifically, but
okay.
I remember both of them at this time in juncture in WWF because I remember watching both of them at this fucking time of it. And to me, it's like the class of the D-bags.
The class of the douchebags.
I'm talking about from fucking HBK and this motherfucker and his fantastic mullet and Razor Ramon and this greasy son of a bitch. Like between the two of them, it's like I wish while they were wrestling, a badass motherfucker would just come out of the left field and beat them both up. You know what I mean? Like you both deserve to
all
lose.
Of it. Jay Wall said 1, 2, 3, 4. He declares a douchebag war. For real. I do remember this match. Like I said before, discussing the Intercontinental title. It's always felt similar to the U.S. title in WCW. Intercontinental title, basically a number one contender's belt, precursor for a world title shot. Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels had been in a very heated rivalry for a good portion of the previous year. as far as the Intercontinental Championship. I think this is definitely one of the moments where Shawn Michaels earned his other nickname, Mr. WrestleMania. Win, lose, or draw.
Confused though.
Uh-huh.
I'm confused. I thought they were on team.
No. I understand the confusion when you think about later on Hall and Nash clicking up, WCW, NWO, and that is funny because Kevin Hall, introduced as Big Daddy Cool Diesel, was under the tutelage of Shawn Michaels at the time.
Yeah.
Right. When he was initially introduced as a character, he was under the tutelage of Shawn Michaels. That is a fact, no doubt. So, Big Irk, I understand your sense of confusion. But like I said, man, this match I vividly remember. A lot of people feel that it actually stole the show from the world title match. Once again, like I said, this is one of the spots where Shawn Michaels definitely earned his second nickname, Mr. WrestleMania. Win, lose, or draw. Shawn Michaels, when it comes to WrestleMania, is always one of the top-notch performers. Few people can outdo whoever in the ring when it comes to WrestleMania. You take that with the WWF's first ladder match, and it's an Intercontinental title match versus Razor Ramon. I mean, everybody's winning. Well, except the guy that's losing the match. But the point of the matter is, man, that ladder match, I feel, was a precursor to the WWF. We talk about the Attitude Era. A reference to the evolution of Mayhem, discussing Monday Night Wars a few shows back. Okay, so Vince McMahon signs off. I'm sorry, Rich Flim Flam signs off on a ladder match. Now, wrestling up to this point, when you talk about 94, this 94 WrestleMania, we're already seeing steel chairs. We're already getting used to broken tables. We're already getting used to certain amounts of foreign objects being introduced, and there's a level of physicality and even bloodshed. But this is a ladder match, okay, where as far as the viewer goes, any and everything could go wrong. All right. A lot of key moments. I thought that the pacing of the match was really good. Razor, there he is. Razor Ramon, a.k.a. Scott Hall. Quick side note, another guy got his start down here. Okay. Briefly under the USAW banner, but then eventually went to AWA. Of course, the WWF/WCW. Scott Hall, the Outsiders, majority of his career. This was kind of funny because you notice he's holding two belts, right? Everybody noticed that.
Yep.
Here's the situation. Okay. Shawn Michaels had to forfeit his IC title due to an injury, okay? When he came back, he still had the actual Intercontinental belt. But during his during his time sitting out, Razor Ramon and the WWF had constructed his Intercontinental belt. Okay. So this was literally an Intercontinental title versus Intercontinental title match. Okay. Shawn Michaels still had possession of the actual WWF Intercontinental title when he had to leave due to injury. Look at the designs. You'll notice the difference in designs, particularly around the main plate area where your name's inscribed, the name of the federation, the name of the title, the coloring, things of that nature. Now, if memory serves me right, if you can hold that up for a second, Mr. Irk, if memory serves me right, I believe the one that Razor Ramon holding in his right hand is the original or the Intercontinental belt Shawn Michaels kept possession of while sitting out in, if I'm right. So if I'm right, then the one in his left hand is the one that the WWF made for him. A lot of people don't know, but Scott Hall actually had a hand in designing that second Intercontinental Championship belt as well. But as you see him holding the belt, so you already know the result of the match. Kind of a, like I said, Intercontinental belt unification match. But still, as a match, no matter who you were a fan of, as a match, that was 25 minutes of heaven. The first ladder match of the WWF, Shawn Michaels launching an aerial assault that up to that point in his career, now we know Shawn Michaels can fly. There's no doubt. We remember his time with the Rockers and things of that nature. Yeah, when you added the extra element of a ladder, that is the point I thought Shawn Michaels actually was going to win the match. I really did. Okay, this was after Razor Ramon / Scott Hall had dominated, particularly outside the ring for 4 or 5 minutes. Shawn Michaels was able to work a few counters, get the ring action back in the ring. You see, he had carefully set up the ladder very close to that turnbuckle, and that jump. Oh, he could catch the full motion. Oh my God, does no justice, man. And like I said, I thought this is where Shawn Michaels was gonna bring that IC title back, back home in regards to his possession. Fell short. Yeah. The first ladder match of WWF is.
Wait, Shawn Michaels lost this match?
Yes.
Yeah, he lost it.
After landing this jump right here.
Yes.
He lost?
Yes. If memory serves
How
me
does
right.
Razor Ramon bounce back from this?
Oh, it's WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania.
If I'm not mistaken, it was Bret Hart that interrupted for Razor Ramon.
Thank you, Mr. Irk Somebody.
Holy shit.
That's the little nugget. A lot of people may have forgotten about this match. Okay.
That's what fucks me up about Irk on this show. I knew going into this show that Apocalypse knew what the fuck he was talking about when it comes to wrestling. But Irk always surprises me with what the fuck he knows.
Nah, I remember it took up a lot of my childhood, man. It took my teenage years and going into my adult years. Like I said, Pussy and Children came into play, so I didn't have enough time to watch wrestling then. But at the same time, there was some key matches I remember, and this is one of them. But going back to what I was saying about my confusion, so Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels were teammates in the WCW.
No, Shawn Michaels.
Okay, so why am I mixing? Okay. So who am I mixing up?
Okay, I what I'm saying is because it's that time frame. When you think about that 93, 94 to 97 time frame, and you talk about roster swapping between both companies, you know what I'm saying? And then some of the storylines. Okay, in real life, Shawn Michaels, Hall, Nash, guy became X-Pac, Triple H, all those guys were friends for real. Uh-oh. Is JD in the building?
JD's in the house.
Oh, Lord. $20 says he ain't sober.
Well, who is? And y'all, I ain't.
His mic is definitely on.
JD, mic check.
I see him on the screen, but I don't hear him.
He's still with us.
I don't see him or her.
He just jumped out. That's all right. Okay. But yeah, okay. So I do not know why I want to put Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon together.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Deals. I don't know why.
I'm gonna tell you why. Like I was explaining it earlier. Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Triple H, the guy that became X-Pac, all those guys were friends in real life. Okay. The thing is, once Kevin Nash got called up, okay, and once he was given the moniker Diesel, okay, and Shawn Michaels, he was his quote unquote bodyguard, okay. I remembered him from the old WCW and even going back to AWA as Vinny Vegas, okay. As far as
I remember that too.
Right, he had that. His character get up. He was like the mob collector, like you know what I mean.
Yeah, he had the polo shit on.
Yeah.
He had the button down. You had the button down. The slick button down shits. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I remember that shit.
Well, remember, eventually he switched to the leather pants and the leather vest with the dice on the front. It was so weird, that leather vest. I think about Austin and how he ran with that later on. But anyway,
okay,
yeah,
so I gotta ask you.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta ask you.
Gotta ask.
Was Razor Ramon really Latino?
Hell no. No.
Fuck.
No. You gotta understand, like I said, okay, when we discussed managing Mayhem, you know, and you alluded how, you know, thought Captain Lou was managing Mayhem, another great show. Okay, you mentioned that I love how you mentioned you thought Captain Lou was of Polynesian descent, for the simple fact he did manage some of those wrestlers. Okay, and then with his ethnic look, you know, we talk about the non-Caucasian variety. And to your surprise, when I informed you that he's of Italian-American descent, he's from upstate New York. Same with these, no different from somebody like Razor Ramon. Like, I think he's originally from, like, I want to say Oklahoma. Okay. But as far as his get up in character, it's so obvious. I mean, if Scarface and the Cabana Boy, if you combine that DNA, you have Razor or Ramon. Okay. That is the whole.
the fact that fucking character, the fact that character worked is so fucked up. But
you know what?
hilarious at the same time.
Do y'all remember any of his first promos as far as WWF, like on Saturday morning shows?
I was about to load up. I was about to load up a few, but I was so afraid that Prince Ingram would fucking
Prince Flim Flam. Man.
Prince Ingram. Flim Flam. Yeah.
Flim Flam.
But fuck Ren Jim Sham, man. He's a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
all those names.
No, go ahead, Phil. But I'm saying, when you talk about the cheesiness of his character, like, I fell in love with it instantly. The first couple of promos.
That's so racist. But at the same time, it's fucking hilarious.
Right. Because, like I said, you know, this was still then when they were introducing a new wrestler. They had to do a couple of Saturday morning promos to make their first couple of matches on the Saturday program before they can finally get a Monday spot. And the first couple of promos I seen of him, man, I'm just like, this dude is the biggest fucking jerk ever. Okay, he's going around slapping pool boys, you know, punching out valets that may have scratched his car, and I'm just like, yeah, they are setting up a really good heel. The mega chains, the hairy chest, the machismo,
Like, when he came up, when he came to the boardroom and said, "You know what I was thinking."
Tell us about that conversation, Ert. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us about that conversation. Go ahead.
You know what? I haven't laughed all day, but that was. If I'm gonna laugh about anything, let it be overt racism. That is fucking hilarious. He was at the boardroom. I imagine him walking in the boardroom and saying, "So you know what I was thinking?" I was thinking. So you remember like the scene in Scarface right before, like he gets chopped up with the chainsaw. When he watched his cousin get chopped up with the chainsaw, he's still talking shit.
Yeah.
Let's turn him into a character. He's like, Oh, the one with the chainsaw. No. We'll do Scarface. We'll do Scarface.
Now go ahead.
Yeah, we are
Because Art was
Scarface,
hurt.
but for some reason we're gonna make him Scarface, who's infatuated with picking shit out of his teeth.
Right. Okay. You got this. I mean, and look at Scott Hall's physique. Let's not knock that. Okay. So you got this big husky white guy from the plains. Like I said, I think he's from like originally Nebraska, Oklahoma, Iowa, somewhere in that nature. Okay, and now he's passing himself.
So you mean to tell me his
name is Scott Hall? What? There's nothing Hispanic about that.
His mouth. So
that's when the jig was up. When he came out as Scott Hall, everybody's like, "Wait a fucking second."
This man got us. Why? Where the fuck is his spray tan?
Yeah.
Scott OG. Wait a minute. If Rick Rude is the OG of the 6-pack in professional wrestling, we want to talk about cliches. Then thank you, Scott Hall / Razor Ramon for being the OG.
I think Razor Ramon has to be. To me, I would say going through all of these mayhems, and there's so many characters we haven't even touched upon yet as far as the professional wrestling goes. But as far as fucking characters go, holy shit, Razor Ramon is probably the funniest character ever.
He said nothing positive. But you don't find nothing funnier than overt racism, not subtle racism.
That is overt.
I mean, that's about as fucked up as you can get.
Go ahead, Jay Wall. Speak on it, bro.
They're like, we're going to take this guy named Scott Hall and we're going to make you the worst motherfucking Spanglish speaking motherfucker we can think of. And you look just
what's
greasy.
So funny about that? What's so funny about that, Jay Wall, is the fact that it worked. Like there were millions of Latin Americans, like, seems legit.
You know what that reminds me of? When I see Mexican people at Taco Bell.
It's my cousin Holmes. That's my cousin Holmes. He's legit.
Yeah, but
what I'm saying, you like my cousin.
My cousin. Yeah, when you think about Scott, that comparison to me in real life is when I see Mexican people at Taco Bell. It's like, what are you doing here? It's Taco Bell. Like, there's nothing Mexican about this place.
I remember when I was a kid, I was confused because his accent was so fucked around. His accent was so fucked around, and he looked so fucking crazy. I was always confused growing up. I was like, is he supposed to be a Spanish cat, or is he just like from the Jersey Shore? I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, he's like, hey, yo. I was like, so, I mean, that could be an awful take on an Italian cat, too. That's how you know. Your take on being a Spanish cat is so fucked up, it could have been Italian.
Wow. I never thought about that.
Yeah. It was.
That's how racist it was. We couldn't even tell what race you were perpetrating.
It was walking the tightrope, and it was so poorly done that you could not tell. That is
he could have very easily been an extra in fucking Do the Right Thing. Easily, he could have worked at the pizza joint. You know what I'm saying?
Sal. Yeah, that could be one of the Sal's.
He was like, hey, yo, get out of here with the fucking music and shit. Hey,
what did they hail him from? Like Apocalypse? Like, what did they hail him from? They said the mean streets of Cuba.
No, it was Miami, Florida. Because if you remember Scarface, this is a blatant Scarface reference.
Oh my God!
Damn! So he was supposed to be like a Miami gangster.
Right?
What?
Like he was on the boat with Scarface, I guess. I
feel like Al Pacino should have been like, y'all can't do this.
Is so fucked up, dude. He's like, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and do it. We're gonna do it.
I feel like Al Pacino should have been like, hey, yo, if they actually let me slide with playing the Cuban, y'all got to leave us alone, man. I already got through. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
out of
Right.
all the characters, Razor Ramon is like when you look at Razor Ramon's character, you would think, how come the WWF or the WWE has not tried a 1930s gangster yet?
Yeah. Well,
Like
yeah.
they could
See.
bring a
It's
they could bring a
because
1930s gangster back, dress him up in 1930s get up, put a
because
fake
it's
ass Tommy gun. He'll come to the stage.
Bro, I
He'll
would
come
have
to the stage and come to the
fucking
ring
loved it.
with a fake ass Tommy gun, long
in a big
ass
barrel of
fucking
bootleg
trench
liquor.
coat,
No, he's got to roll
Dick
down the
Tracy
ramp.
style, Dick Tracy style trench coat.
Dick Tracy. Wow.
Dude,
Man.
that would have been so fucking dope. I would have loved it. I can see it right now. Yeah, let me tell you here, Rent Shim Sham. Yeah, let me tell you.
And then you
I've been
get a
running for
few
the
of
coppers all
you get a
night, Rent
few of
Shim
them. You call them the
Sham.
mobsters.
I'm gonna take your
okay,
game and
so
smack her around a little bit. Yeah.
so what would you name that guy as a wrestler? Like, anybody got any clues or suggestions? I'm thinking the Capo, maybe.
Oh, that's a good
Capo's
one.
good. That's a great fucking wrestler name for.
Wait,
Hey,
can I
can
add
we
one
I'm
more
sell
thing
thinking
to
it?
it?
like I'm
That's a
thinking
great
like
idea.
Babyface something though, like
Yeah, okay,
Babyface
yeah,
from
like
Clan
Babyface Mulligan or something like. Okay, because that was a
Yeah,
okay, or Pretty Boy something.
yeah,
You know,
You know,
can I
something
add
like
one more
that.
thing real quick?
Bumpy Knuckles.
Let me add one more thing real quick as far as his intro and get up. Now, every great mobster back then had what? Had a doll or a broad, right?
Yeah.
You always gotta have the brides, man.
Okay, so his doll, she's got to roll this big ass barrel with supposed to be bootleg liquor down the ramp in front
That is fucking hilarious.
as he's walking behind, Tommy gun on his shoulders, cigar, rolls on the lapel. I mean, I'm just saying, if we're going to invent a wrestler real quick, impromptu. But yeah,
Dude,
man.
the only reason my entire left arm, well, I can't say entire, but what I have of it.
Yeah. You ain't got a lot of kicking.
The only
What
reason
are you
it
about
has
to
no
say?
tattoo on it is because there's only one tattoo going on it, a complete sleeve, Roaring 20s theme. That's my motherfucking shit. I
Right.
love that shit. I love the motherfucking zoot suits and the motherfucking Tommy guns and the cars and the cigarette girls. I love all that shit, man. That is the era I should have been born in.
Hey, if you
For
really like
sure.
that era,
I love that shit.
Really quick, if you like that era for real, J Wall, and I'm not down here sincerity, I got a little homework for you, okay?
Racism.
Okay, the actor's name is Edward James Olmos. Okay, he used to play Crockett and Tubbs' boss on Miami Vice. Okay,
Yeah.
He was the big gangster in American Me. Okay,
Yep, I remember that.
Check out an old movie of his. I think it's 81, 82. It's called Zoot Suit. Okay, it chronicles the Chicano rise in southern LA back in that time, so late 20s, early 30s. Might want to check that one out.
Fuck yeah, dude! I can guarantee
Interesting history about the zoot suit. They give
We
it.
are
They
so
give
off the
it.
rail with this show, but it's all good.
Yeah, this is just a little bit off the rails, but it's just funny.
Go ahead, Mr. Earth, somebody.
At the time that the zoot suit was popular, we had the Indian population from India were moving over here. There was a vast, huge migration of West. What do you call it? We call them West Indians.
So, okay, are we talking like from the country of India?
Yeah, from the
or
country
the
of
West
India.
Indies, because the West Indies are part of the
The
Caribbean.
from the country of India.
Okay, so we're talking Bollywood, Mumbai, all that.
Yeah. So around that same time,
Indie Project, all that shit.
many many people from the country of India.
I just want to make sure we get the right Indians, man.
Yeah. But many people from the country of India, men that would come over here and they would have oversized suits on.
Okay.
And the oversized suits, I mean, they would basically have suits that were given to them, and many of them were bigger than the suits that it wasn't made for. It wasn't cut for them, so they would
They were like a
appear
couple
bigger.
sizes bigger.
Well, when they get over here, that becomes a fad to wear
Okay.
suits that are bigger than you, so they would actually have them cut like that. Look it up.
All right, we talk. Okay, man, appreciate the little exploit on that.
They accredit, what I'm saying, they accredit the zoot suits to Latinos, Latin Americans, and Afro Americans at that in that time period. But they never mentioned the fact that there was a lot of people from India that came over here.
So they conveniently left that fact out, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's a part of the history that was left out.
No, it's not. It's not history. It's his story. Do y'all work?
And that's why.
And speaking of that, real quick, to all of our millions of Indian listeners out there, I do apologize.
All two of them.
I do apologize for the shipment of Fauci juice. Holla at my boy Hotep Jesus for that term. That we just sent y'all. I would highly advise you don't take that shit.
I think oxygen is India's biggest problem right now. Receiving oxygen and getting oxygen, extra containers of oxygen. That's the issue right now. And
the channel oxygen.
Yeah, I just say, man, for real, you're fucked up. Well, all I would say is for the population and people of India, man, take care and try to survive that shit. But we gonna move on.
Mr.
And if you get a package in the mail that says from,
as far as Shawn Michaels go, I think he was dope as a rocker. But I think his solo career stood out more to me.
Yes. Oh, definitely. I mean, everyone knows that when you talk about Shawn Michaels' overall career, yes, made that splash nasty with the Rockers. They were a great tag team. Yet, I mean, so many career not breaking, career defining moments. Shawn Michaels, you know what I'm saying, in regards to his ascension in WWF ranks via his solo career and WrestleMania 10, the first sanctioned ladder match of the WWF, WrestleMania 10, 1994. That ladder match is one of the cogs in the wheel of success when it comes to Shawn Michaels, man. And definitely.
Let me ask you, is Shawn Michaels a heel?
Shawn Michaels at the time was the fan favorite. And now, if y'all remember during the kind of Big Daddy Cool days, at first, he made a heel turn, all right? But going into the Razor Ramon match and then the majority of his career, you know what I'm saying, Shawn Michaels was the fan favorite. And it worked. I never really bought him as a heel. And
so you're saying that Shawn Michaels went into that match as the fan favorite?
Yes, because like I said,
I thought Razor Ramon was. I honestly thought Razor Ramon was a fan favorite because his popularity at that time, man, you heard it. Even if you didn't watch,
you are right. You are right. No, actually, you are right, Mr. Earth Somebody, and I don't mind being corrected. That's why I like to have my notes and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? You are right. Razor going into WrestleMania that year, he had built a following. You know what I'm saying? I'm so glad Mr. Earth Somebody corrected me on that. Have to remind a lot of fans, okay? There are a lot of wrestlers work for WWF/WWE that either never performed at a WrestleMania or at best they were an early match. Okay. When you talk about headlining, now there was a world title match. I believe it was Hogan Savage with the world title match for WrestleMania that year. Okay. Yet the Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon Intercontinental title match via ladder match stipulation stole that show. If you were to ever watch that WrestleMania, it's hard pressed to say that this match wasn't the actual best match of that WrestleMania. And one of the reasons we highlight this match on tonight's edition of Mayhem, or as we call it, headlining Mayhem, top billing, the best of the best, cream of the crop, creme de la creme, if you will. And Mr. Hurt Somebody, we try not to be biased here. We try not to show favor to one or the other. So if you could, kind sir, if you could hit us with a classic match under the WCW banner, what do you got for us?
I only loaded up the 5 you gave me, bro.
That's fine. Don't matter.
I didn't load up any WCW.
Whoa. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. We're gonna actually have to obviously do a WCW edition of this show to follow back on. And no problem.
As I guess we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be doing headlining WCW edition.
Right. Because
next Monday.
We've discussed it before. Even with one particular subject matter, you can get multiple shows out of that subject matter. And we talk about headlining Mayhem. We obviously want this series to concentrate on the best of the best for particular matches. I don't mind you bringing that beat back, DJ, and we could definitely drop that WCW version because we don't want to seem biased. You know, I already know that Brent's Flim Flam's probably still having a little smile on his face because we're not going to feature WCW on this particular broadcast. That is not to say we won't be back in the building, all right, and make another run at it. So with that,
and, to be honest, you're gonna have to school me on as far as classic matches go with WCW.
That's no problem.
I know a few, but I mean, in all honesty, what I would say is the matches that I remember may not have been classic by textbook, you know what I'm saying, by textbook definition. But I remember them. So we may have to. I'm gonna have to call you on the back end, and we're gonna have to talk.
Good. Bro, you all good. And if you still have that list, I would suggest, you know, however you could.
The first list is the lengthy list you sent me. My God, this motherfucker researches his ass off, guys.
Yeah, I tried. All right, so in that case, let's discuss another classic WWF. Because then, this is the 80s, 90s heyday of wrestling. You know, they haven't switched to the WWE banner yet. So I believe for legal purposes, we still have to refer to them as WWF. So without further ado, Mr. Hurt Somebody.
Flam.
Whoa! Man! I mean, for real? Like...
The heavy hitters.
I mean, say it again, J-Wall.
That's the heavy hitters right there. I mean, Hulkamania in the cream of the crop.
Macho Madness versus Hulkamania.
If I gotta pick one of the two, I'm going Macho Man.
Of course.
Every day of the week. That's my guy.
Hey, Hulkamania versus Macho Madness. You were talking about an entire fan base split right down the seam with this one, okay? Flat out, no doubt, one of the all-time great matches, like I say, in wrestling history, and particularly under the WWF brand. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this one. Once again, so much homework. I mean, y'all see these changes.
This is the beginning. This match right here is the beginning of the professional wrestling soap opera.
Right. And just real quick, y'all. Okay, we don't BS. There are pages. I have pages upon pages of notes here. Okay, it's sick. Point of the matter is Hogan, Savage, let's get it. Like I said, an entire fan base split in half. And Brent's Flim Flam and the guys were more than brilliant in designing this match taking full advantage of fan dedication. Another subject matter we covered on the Monday Night Wars as far as that show. But two of the all-time greats, two of the all-time favorites ever. I've always felt their careers, there was an uneasy symbiosis. I feel there's several points in both of their careers they'll forever be linked, in ring and out of ring. We all know about the Mega Power storyline, Macho Man's obsessive jealousy, ripping that great tag team apart. Miss Elizabeth, unfortunately, the centerpiece of that rivalry, and this was so many times we discussed wrestling and business being personal, the lines being blurred. This is another great example of that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Hogan and Savage. A lot of people kind of feel like Hogan was pretty much just ordained and didn't really pay his dues. We can talk about working the ranks and particularly becoming, the world heavyweight champion. And some people consider Macho Man more of a grinder. Okay. And I think Macho Man himself felt that Hogan was handed certain luxuries and entitlements throughout his career. And I feel a lot of that came into play, not just this match, anytime they swerved off against each other in the ring.
I mean, but AP, don't you think it's obvious? I mean, it's obvious. I mean, you could tell from the very beginning that Hulk Hogan was his character was getting benefited. I mean, shit. He had 80s movies. Like, how many 80s movies under that same fucking color, those colors that he used?
Right. And see,
I mean, he was the Ronald McDonald of fucking wrestling.
Right. And see what you talking about, Big Herb. I think the playing part of their jealousy and their issues is the lack of out of ring opportunities Macho Man received versus Hogan. Like you said, I mean, Hogan was in Rocky 3 for fuck's sake. He got the suplex, elbow drop, Sylvester Stallone. All right.
Yeah. He was in Rocky 3, he had his own, what is that, the other movie he had where he was doing the fucking, was it him doing the fucking arm wrestling?
No, that was Stallone. That was
Over the Top.
Over the Top. Hogan wasn't in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that movie was the shit, though. Side note.
That movie was just shit.
What? When that came out, that was the shit.
No, it was just shit.
What was the one where Hulk Hogan was in?
He did a couple. He had that family comedy, Mr. Nanny.
What's
Hogan
the one?
Yeah. Hogan in a ballerina outfit. That's fucking classic.
And he was in that one movie with Zeus.
Oh yeah, No Holds Barred. That's how he introduced him.
And that movie is super trash.
Yeah, that movie's horrible. Suburban Commando, which is hilarious because if you ever go back and watch Suburban Commando, which I hope to God you don't, but if anybody is ballsy, no, not ballsy. If anyone is stupid and deprived enough, if anyone out there self-esteem is that fucking low to where you gotta watch Suburban Commando, look very carefully for a really quick appearance by the Undertaker. Okay. But anyway, Hogan, Savage.
So basically, the general consensus is all the Hogan movies were trash.
Horrible. Now,
honestly, 80s. What do you expect?
Yeah, and then, like I said, Brent's Flam Flam. He made no secret about it. His plan the whole time was to use wrestling as a platform into entertainment. He's the one who coined the phrase sports entertainment. Okay, so when you talk about TV, film, Hollywood, all right, later on down the line, allowing wrestlers to have original music, licensed music, okay, Hogan coming out to Hendrix and Purple Haze, Jimi Hendrix, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? Okay. This match definitely is a precursor to all those things. Okay. This was bigger than the big dog in the yard. This is bigger than, you know, the title itself. This was literally about who's going to be the top man in this company. Because the way both of those guys looked at it, if I'm the top man in this company, I'm the top man in this industry.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, purchasing the properties of Jim Crockett Promotions and the old NWA banner and forming WCW. Yeah, they were on the way up. Yeah, as Irk and I and the other panel discussed before, the WWF was already a national brand. Millions of homes weekly. Multiple programming weekly. Okay. Monday nights. Your Saturday morning show. Once a month. What was it? Once every other month through NBC, they had that Saturday night main event, late night. Okay. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Everything we know about professional wrestling, when you talk about mainstream media, when you talk about making that leap into pop culture, see, that's the thing, pop culture here. Now they're infiltrating music. They're infiltrating film and TV. Okay. There's advertising dollars because now they're pushing products. Okay. This match, I feel, helped usher, that era. Once again, alluding to the evolution of Mayhem a few shows back. Hogan and Savage, this match was also had a level of viciousness I don't think a lot of WWF fans were accustomed to up to that point, unless they were viewers of other federations, particularly, WCW, I felt was definitely a little more, quote unquote, violent at that time. There it is. Another dope graphic from the mastermind himself, Mr. Hurt Somebody. But this match had a level of savagery. Like I said, I don't think a lot of WWF fans, if you were just a WWF viewer, okay, so their weekly programming, so whether you're talking about Monday night, whether you're talking about Saturday morning, whether you're talking about late Saturday nights on the NBC's main event, all right, even previous pay-per-views you had witnessed before, okay, I still feel this Hogan Savage match reached a level of brutality the WWF viewer was not accustomed to at that time. Another cog in the wheel when you talk about taking professional wrestling to another level. Of course, Savage lost the match. This was actually the start of what I believe was Hogan's second title reign as WWF champion. Both you guys are probably more than familiar with their careers individually and collectively after this match. I'm not a Seinfeld fan. I've watched enough episodes to know the term frenemy. And if there were ever frenemies on such a big stage, it is definitely the Macho Man Randy Savage and the American hero Hulk Hogan. Hogan, Savage, WrestleMania 5, WWF title on the line. Hogan secured his second world title reign. And just the start of just a lot of great things to come post-match when you talk about the industries that we affectionately love as Mayhem. We are welcoming everybody that has chimed in, that is viewing. We appreciate your love and support. I'm a little disappointed. Katie, 1976, she's been quiet tonight. I don't know if Mr. Irk somebody ran her off or what, but I'm just playing, bruh. I'm just giving you the business. But like I said, we appreciate anybody that's watching live. Definitely appreciate replays via podcast, via the U.H.O.A channel. U.H.O.A. JD done disappeared on us still. You don't know where he at. Probably. You know what I'm saying? He probably sniffing around that Cadbury if I had to figure, but more power to him. More power to him. Better sniffing on some Cadbury, than sniffing on an 8-ball, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you could sniff an 8-ball off Cadbury. Who knows? But I'm going to keep it going, man. We're going to keep it going. Mr. Irk Somebody. Kind sir.
The following program is rated TVMA. Viewer discretion is advised.
Thank you for that short reminder, letting all the people know, like Mr. Earth, somebody reminds you, sorry, degenerate fucking parents, if you're dumb enough to let your kids watch this shit.
And if you're dumb enough to let your kids watch this shit and listen to AP talk about 8 balls and the gorgeous Miss Cadbury, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do the TVMA and let you know that we're a bunch of assholes that just be talking sometimes. So sometimes we're gonna say some shit. Sometimes we're gonna say some shit outlandish. It may add up to nothing, but damn it, we're gonna say it anyway.
I know that's right. But definitely glad Mr. Earth somebody's in the building. The man controlling the boards, not just this show. The mastermind of the U.H.O.A channel, the U.H.O.A network. All right, we appreciate everything you do for us, man. El Presidente J-Wall is in the building. I guess he's on a search mission. You know, we got an APB out for JD.
I'll tell you what,
JD's on a milk cart. He's missing.
This show wouldn't have got done tonight if it wasn't for the great motivation of El Presidente and AP Apocalypse.
Appreciate it, man.
I am not in the mood for anything, and these two gentlemen knows it, and they still put up with me, and I appreciate them.
Shit, we appreciate you, bro.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little distracted and a little dejected. I was supposed to have a dinner date earlier this evening, and it's kind of hard to believe that in 2021, people still stand people up. How high school and borderline juvenile is that? But whatever. Like Mr. Earth, somebody reminded y'all, okay, we're going to keep this train moving. Highs and lows, ups and downs. This is U.H.O.A. This is how we do it.
U.H.O.A.
Okay.
U.H.O.A.
And if a couple of us get down, the rest of us, you know what I'm saying, we're going to pick up the slack. We're gonna raise it up. All right. We're going to hold our head high, and we're going to try to keep pushing forward, you know, in a positive fashion. All right. But I'm glad the audience is chiming in. Hopefully, definitely appreciate the replay value if you check us out in a later juncture. So in the meantime, in between time, Mr. Earth, somebody, kind sir, if you would, can you cue us up another great match from the WWF vault?
We're going back here.
Okay. Woo!
Oh, Lord of mercy.
Wow!
Look how big he was. Look how big that motherfucker is.
What do they call it? What do they call it? That Earth viewing construction, what do they call it? Is that to scale? Right? Did I get it right?
Andre.
Is that to scale? I try to make it like as realistic as possible.
Right.
So
go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying when I put the two pictures, when I put the two images together and put them on one blank screen in order to size them, I was like, okay, let me see how I can.
Imagine being 6'7", 320 pounds, and you still have to look up to your opponent.
Yeah, because Hogan's not a little motherfucker. And
listen to what I'm saying. At his peak, at his maximum, at his apex, if you will. Okay, when you talk about his ring introduction and the stats they've been run off, 6'7", 320 pounds. No, I say by this time he was probably around at 310 mark. So still, very big man. The 24-inch pythons, and you have to look up to your opponent. The disparity in size alone is astonishing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats, dogs, chickens, and rats. This is Hulk Hogan versus the one true great Andre the Giant. Once again, Mr. Earth, somebody with the dope graphic. Look at the size disparity. This is Andre the Giant. This is a man who was well over 7 foot. I believe his actual recorded height was 7'5", close to 7'4", 7'5".
Yeah, 7'4" is what I read.
Yes. Okay. I believe at one time he held the actual Guinness Book of World Record as the tallest man in the world. Definitely large, one of the largest. I mean, look at the size, look at the girth on this behemoth of a man. To be able to dwarf Hulk Hogan, a man that is 6'7", and at that time between 300 to 310 pounds. Okay, this is WrestleMania 3. This is 1987. This is WrestleMania as a brand and as an event. This is wrestling pay-per-view in its infancy. This is when, once again, reverting back to the evolution of Mayhem, pivotal moments in this company and this industry's history that transitioned from wrestling being frowned upon and kind of used as a Southern stereotype to go to a national brand, okay, to capture the ears and eyes, the imagination of those nation and worldwide. The birth of all that starts with this particular WrestleMania. It's not the first WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania 3. I will reiterate, WrestleMania 3. Yet everything we know and love about Mayhem, this match is definitely one of the major precursors, okay? Classic heel face match. Now, you're thinking, wait, Andre the Giant as a heel? Head scratcher? Beard rubber?
Absolutely, he was a heel. Because everybody looked at that dude was like, okay, he's huge as fuck. He's picking on the little bitty Hulk Hogan. Why the fuck is he picking on America's hero? Everybody thought Andre the Giant was the bad guy. Every kid.
Hey, you know what? I think this right here was the most genius transition from wrestling to the point where it was getting popular, but it was still kind of more the carnival run, the backdoor type shit to the mainstream conglomerate that it became. And I think that was the dead split. I think Andre the Giant was that essence of the old school still, the big spectacle of a monster of a man that's in there, this big beast. It's like when you look at the freak show at the carnival, you know what I mean? And then you got this American dream boy, fucking tan dude from Tampa Bay, Florida, blonde hair, fucking American Hulkster, and he comes in here and he's very marketable to sell it. And you could sell and market Andre the Giant to a point, but then when you get Hulk and then everything that followed that, I think that was where they stepped out of kind of the backdoor kind of carnival spectacle realm right into the mainstream conglomerate.
Right. I love your carnival analogy, not just with Andre the Giant personally, like you said, professional wrestling at that time. Okay, when you talk about an entertainment vehicle, the way it was still kind of frowned upon and dismissed by a lot of mainstream pop culture outlets. So, like I said, I really love your analogy the carnival analogy. Now, back to the head scratching moment. Andre the Giant, for predominant of his career, was a fan favorite. Okay. The thing is, Andre the Giant, and a lot of people may not know this or even be aware of it, Andre the Giant, particularly as far as the WWF, never has been a world champion. Never. Okay. Andre the Giant eventually packed years of resentment about that. I don't blame the man, particularly all the work he did, not just for WWF, but wrestling literally around the world. And so going into this one, we alluded to it the last show. One of my personal favorites, Managing Mayhem. We discussed Bobby the Brain Heenan and one of his clients in regards to the Heenan family. I made the mention of Andre the Giant because this is when he made his heel turn. All right. So being guided by the beautiful brain, there he goes. There he goes. The car salesman from hell, Bobby the Brain Heenan. So eventually that resentment in real life made a great storyline. And like I said, Andre the Giant had never been a world champion, ever. All right. He got tired of the sideshow mentality. And he was dead serious in regards to wanting to strike down Hulkamania. So
you mean to tell me Andre the Giant never held
go ahead,
the belt?
Mr. Somebody go ahead now.
Andre the Giant never held the belt?
Andre the Giant was never a world champion.
Wow.
Never. You know, every company or organization, you know, had its version, its iteration of the world title. Okay. Andre the Giant was never a world champion. Okay.
I don't know why they wouldn't have. You would think Pitch Flim Flam would fucking think that was a great idea to market. You know, Hogan comes in as a David and Goliath fucking match and steals the fucking belt from Goliath.
Well, here's the irony. Hogan was already the champion going into WrestleMania 3, so he was defending against Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I found out, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yo, so what I'm saying is, like, you would think that would be a one hell of a storyline, you know, where Hogan somehow loses his belt and gets it back, you know what I'm saying, by taking out the Giant, you know. But it's surprising that he's never held a belt. I'm real surprised by that.
And what's funny is, in the early days of the internet, so we're talking like 2000, 2001, is when I first discovered that fact. And imagine the shock and amazement to me. You know, Andre the Giant was always a fan favorite. Like Jay Wall alluded to, a good portion of his career. Like he said, wrestling as a whole was considered a sideshow, and he was a mainstream staple of that. I believe he recognized as the popularity became more mainstream, particularly the financial. Think about those first big checks that were coming in, okay? And who wouldn't want a piece of that? All the work he had put in this industry up to that time. The signature moment in this match, and Mr. Hurt Somebody, I hope and pray you have this clip or a still shot. But the signature moment, as we discussed headlining Mayhem, every great match has that signature moment or two. And the signature moment in this match is the picking up, the raising, and the body slamming of Andre the Giant, courtesy of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
The crowd went wild. If I remember correctly, like I said, that was WrestleMania 3, and if I remember correctly, that was the first international WrestleMania. That one was actually in Toronto, I believe. Talking the old Sky Dome, home of the Toronto Blue Jays. So that's 70,000, 80,000 easily. You know. So that is the pivotal moment with Hulk Hogan actually body slamming Andre the Giant. The crowd went wild. I went wild. My pops went wild. No matter who you were rooting for, it was just a hell of a feat in itself. I mean, you had seen Hogan up to that point, and Hogan definitely had his fair share of big opponents that were big, girthy, qualities like that. But to pick up and slam Andre the Giant, literally the biggest man in professional wrestling. All right, this man registered at 500 pounds. 500 pounds, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine being 6'7", 300 plus pounds. And not only do you have to look up to your opponent, this is an opponent that at some point in the match, you have to pick up and scoop slam.
Yeah.
That alone is a physical feat. Now, of course, and I've heard the story 1,000 times, and it's easy to verify if you ever watched the match. Okay, Andre gives Hogan a little help. You know what I'm saying? Kind of gives him a little jump. You know, using his feet and his legs. Yet still, even with a little help, man, to have to body slam 500 pounds of human being. All right. Incredible feat of strength, man. For real. Of course, Hogan won the match. Everybody's happy. Say your prayers, eat your butt. The face off. I mean, look at that. Look at that, y'all. Now, that is definitely what, Erg, am I saying it right? To scale, right? Hello?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah. That's definitely to scale, bro. I mean, look at that. J-Wall.
Yeah.
Where you at? I mean, what do you got to say about that?
I mean, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like that, I think that picture says it all, man. That's like the old guard handing it over to the new regime. You know what I mean? But like that, in essence, is they went from taking just physical specimens like Andre the Giant and try to market a dude like that, and then they try to market the spray tan boy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
yeah,
like if you look at Andre the Giant, like it's crazy that he never held a title or anything like that. Like at his time when he was running, like who else was more of a marketable athlete at the time? Like it had to be that dude. He's the biggest fucking guy going.
You know, once again, you make a great analogy when you talk about the passing of the guard. I've watched interviews and things of that nature on both these guys, and separately, you know, they both acknowledged, you know what I'm saying, they had discussed it actually the night before. And this was the passing of the torch. This was Andre the Giant saying, Hogan, now you got to carry the mantle. And once again, I reiterate, not just of this company, but of this business. Okay. WCW, I mean, we're still up and coming. They weren't quite snapping on the heels yet, but you know what I mean? They were up and coming. And, you know, and so at the time with the WWF still being the only true national brand, you know, this was about Hogan getting the torch passed from Andre the Giant.
And I think that alludes to the last fight that we looked at with Hogan and Macho Man. Because then if you think about that, like, you know, Hogan was like the big shit, the main guy, but then like they marketed, they had to have like sides of the coin, you know what I mean? So like on the Hogan-esque marketing side of it, the baby face or whatever, you know, the motherfucking hero, then they push, you know, a Macho Man right next to him, you know, kind of almost like a Robin to the Batman, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, they wearing the same colors at times and doing shit like that, you know what I mean? And then of course on the opposite end of those cats, you know what I mean, you had more, you know, you had the heels, but like, you know, they like that fight right there pushed all that Hulkamania into full force. Without the Andre the Giant fight, you don't have this whirlwind of Hulkamania.
Right. Exactly. Because particularly Hogan's character, and when you talk about the height of WrestleMania, I always felt there was it's kind of coincidence since Marvel is doing a tie-in with ESPN on the NBA tonight. Definitely a superhero quality. There it is. Look, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
The strain on the back. I mean, that's like the ultimate deadlift. I know enough about lifting weights and bodybuilding, okay? I know enough. Okay. That starts as a deadlift, and then you got to get them up at least high enough to sell it. Man, I don't care how much help Andre is
it true that Andre helped you?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. If you can ever actually watch the match in its entirety, and particularly when or if you can cue it up to this moment, watch Andre the Giant's feet, watch his legs. Okay, as Hogan comes in to start to scoop it, to secure him first before the scoop. Watch Andre the Giant's feet and particularly his legs. He gives him a little help, if you will, all right? A little push. You know what I'm saying? There was no way that was gonna be a clean what do they call it? Snatch and jerk. Did it? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, unless it's J-Wall alone on a Saturday night because the old lady didn't went out or something. He probably snatched and jerked in. But
damn it. It might be the situation for when I get off this motherfucking podcast.
Damn. But for real, yeah. But he did. That is the truth. That is verified. Like I said, over the years, I have watched several interviews with them.
You can see it in the video of the fight. Watch the video of the fight. You can see that when Andre comes in to getting scooped, he kind of jumps and gives leverage.
He gets a little help.
And you can tell, too, because that's the only way it's going to happen. Because even though he did that, as soon as Hulk gets him in that sideways view you see in that picture, he's already on his way down with him. He honestly never really picked him up and slammed him. He just grabbed him and moved with the momentum of Andre's jump. He never really picked him up with his whole body weight at all.
Exactly, because like I said, that's 500 pounds.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
that's
that right there. That picture right there looks like he picked him up and he's holding him. But honestly, that's him catching Andre in the jump.
Exactly.
And then following his body down. Yeah, basically, all he did was make sure Andre didn't land on his head.
Yeah. Basically. He basically is guiding him toward a good landing.
Yeah, it's basically all he did.
But like I said, man, this match right here, this really brings back a lot of memories. Just getting a really good understanding as young as I was. I mean, WrestleMania 3 is 1987. So I was 14 because my birthday night's in November, and WrestleMania is always the first Monday of April. First Sunday of April. Usually day before NCAA title game. But so being that young and already getting a sense of like feeling how big this match was, I'm like, this thing's bigger than the match. This thing's
you
bigger.
Said 83?
I believe it's WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania 3, which I believe the year that would be 1987.
1987. Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah. So like I said, I was 14. I turned 15 that year. So already getting a really good understanding of this thing is bigger than this match. This thing is bigger than this company. You know what I'm saying? This was definitely an early blossoming development, as J-Wall alluded to earlier, with professional wrestling going, you know, kind of from like the back alleys or that carnival atmosphere to mainstream. Okay. And when I say mainstream, this is a term I will use, and I will reference this term throughout the duration of just this show, any edition of Mayhem, pop culture. Okay. When you're cruising the mall, okay, and the hot little MILFs are discussing WrestleMania, you done did something. Okay. When I'm at church at the time, okay, Old Great and Good Hope Baptist Church, all right, 26 and Grand, okay, discussing WrestleMania. Okay, in school the next day, you're discussing WrestleMania. In the herd shops, people are discussing WrestleMania. Okay, this is the first WrestleMania everybody's seen.
Yeah.
Because it was that curiosity. Go ahead, Mr. Earth. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. You was going to chime in. Go ahead. No? Who was that? Who was about to chime in? Who was that?
No, I was just listening to what you were saying, my friend.
Oh, okay.
But I was thinking about if I was at the mall and a hot MILF was talking about wrestling, I'd be like, that bitch suck dick.
Oh my God. TVMA, bro. I swear. Well,
I feel like that would be my thoughts. But is this bitch talking about John Cena? She definitely sucked dick.
Right. But no, like, okay, there wasn't no Starbucks because this is 87. But if there was one, okay, the baristas, somebody watched WrestleMania the night before. All right. Like I said, this is the third WrestleMania, but this is definitely the first one I feel that really just broke that mold and helped the WWF, help Andre the Giant, help Hulk Hogan, help this industry.
So, in your personal opinion, or is it a general consensus that this is the WrestleMania that launched WrestleMania, the following WrestleManias?
To me, this is the first true great WrestleMania. To me, this is the WrestleMania that made WrestleMania. Okay, look at it, man. You got one of the all-time legends that has made a heel turn. You think about the physical specimen Andre the Giant is. I mean, you seen the pics, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Hulk Hogan, 6'7", 300 plus pounds, and he has to look up to this man. So even as big as he is, you know, there's a David and Goliath element, per se. It wasn't officially booked in that capacity yet. I mean, the size disparity is more than mind-boggling. I mean, Andre the Giant outweighed Hogan going into that match by close to 200 pounds. Easily. You know, I think Andre the Giant weighed in officially at 505 pounds. Okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too, because I'd imagine a lot of the people that Hogan paired off against, he probably looked bigger than most of them.
Well, Hogan took on this, Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, one-man gang. I mean, I can keep Yokozuna. I can keep going.
King Kong Bundy was a big motherfucker at his time.
Undertaker.
But, I mean, I would say that, like, when Hulk Hogan was wrestling people in the Andre fight, Hulk Hogan still looked like a big motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
then,
I mean,
when you see this dude that you think that, damn, that's a big motherfucker, and then he stands next to Andre, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, your dick starts shrinking.
That's a big motherfucker. You know what I mean?
I mean, your cock will shrink quick. If you 6'7", 300-something pounds, and you gotta look up to your opponent, some egos will shrink. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
but what I'm saying, as far as like the fans watching that too, they probably, you know, when they see them side by side, they're probably like, God damn, because they probably thinking Hulk Hogan is a big ass motherfucker when they see him. You know what I mean?
Because he is.
I mean, standing next to that motherfucker, you're like, I mean, because 6'7", 300 pounds is a big motherfucker.
And you got 24-inch guns too. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'm 6'2", 250. And a 6'7", 300 pound motherfucker is a big motherfucker.
Right. So while it wasn't officially built in that capacity, there's definitely a David versus Goliath aspect for the simple fact, the size disparity compared to Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. You know, but to answer your question, I definitely credit this. This is what made WrestleMania. Because this is when it now became an event. Okay. This is now what everyone on the roster has got to work harder for year round. This is their Super Bowl. Okay. If you go back and watch the first two WrestleManias, I'm not going to say they sucked. I really try not to judge them because I remember the time frame and I remember, you know, this is new content trying to be presented, you know, saying to a mass audience. All right. Too new to judge. Okay. Yet when you think about what WrestleMania became, when you think about story matches, when you think about moments that even once you get Alzheimer's disease when you're old, you may not forget. When you think about WrestleMania and what it has done and creating those moments and showcasing those stars, it started with this WrestleMania. It starts with WrestleMania 3. It starts with Hogan versus Andre the Giant. It starts with that signature shot. Okay. Hogan and the slamming of Andre the Giant, slaying the big evil, and all the cliches that come in it, with saying your prayers and eating your vitamins and being on the juice and ratting on your boss and oh shit, my bad. But anyway. Fucking Hogan, man. But yeah, this is one of the all-time great WrestleManias. To me, this is the WrestleMania that made WrestleMania what it is. Not just a brand, not just a label. This is an event. Okay, this is when the celebrities come out. They want to talk about Aaron Rodgers coming here for Derby. Okay, this is the first WrestleMania. We talk about red carpet treatment, if you will. All right, not just that Sunday, making it a whole event throughout the whole weekend. Okay, this is the WrestleMania that started it, and these two participants in such a monumental match: Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, former friends turned enemies in pursuit of the World Heavyweight Championship, courtesy of the WWF. This match, no doubt, goes in the annals of wrestling history. It's one of the all-time greats. Period. No matter what brand you prefer and did follow. So with that, headlining Mayhem.
So let me ask you real quick. Since we all are Kentuckians,
okay,
and Derby was this weekend. Mm-hmm. How was you guys Derby?
I worked all weekend. So I worked at a restaurant. So how do you think my Derby was?
I got shit-faced. And I closed down Bardstown Road.
What the fuck? What did you do?
Closed it down, son. Bars were turning fucking lights out on the patios when we were leaving.
Oh, I see. I noticed you said we, so you was flaked up, huh? You was with some hooligans, wasn't you?
Oh, no. I was with the squad, man. My wife, my sister-in-law, brother-in-law, my stepdaughters, my usual suspects.
That's what's up. Mr. Hurt Somebody, how was your Derby weekend?
Just getting my new space in order, man. Getting my new space in order. Got my living room set.
Okay.
Arranging everything. Trying to get used to living alone, but everything's coming together.
All right, Mr. Earth Somebody spending his Derby weekend selling in his new gigs. And not just for Mr. Earth Somebody, I'm gonna remind everybody there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Okay, understand that.
Fact.
Understand that. Mr. Earth Somebody, do we have time for one more? Is the list complete for tonight? Or
we got one more.
We got one more.
And it's you know what?
What's up?
Like I said, the following Monday we are doing the same show except WCW.
Okay, y'all heard that.
And that show I will be getting schooled more than anything. I'll be a student more than anything.
That's all right, because at some point the student becomes the master. I got more than supreme confidence in you, Mr. Earth Somebody. I got more than supreme confidence in you in that regard.
Yeah, man. Plus, like I said, I really battled with which ones was my favorite. WCW, you know what I'm saying? Because they had a strong roster. I would say the 80s and 90s. You know what I'm saying? Their roster was strong. And I would say the same thing for WWF. I would say they just had more commercial, you know what I'm saying, marketing star power. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I feel you. I can clearly remember the days here in Louisville as far as the under 21 clubs. We talk about Troubadour and Thumper and the Maze. And I can remember as part of my Saturday night about to go out and act a fool ritual, I would watch that 2-hour WCW Saturday night program. So I guess for a time, I don't like to say preference, because I alluded to it earlier. I've never got caught up in the brand wars. I knew people who only watched one or the other. I seen and heard a lot of the arguments, you know what I'm saying? Being from this area, growing up on local regional wrestling, I can care about bread. Just give me good talent, give me good matches, you know what I'm saying? And excuse me, but I love how we are going to follow up 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks, y'all. 2 weeks from today, we're going to follow up this headlining Mayhem with a WCW version. I have dispersed a very interesting and intricate list to the master of the boards, Mr. Earth Somebody. Okay. So we definitely going to do a lot of research, a lot of homework on that one. Because like I said, we don't want to seem biased. All right. We want to showcase and highlight all great wrestling moments from the 80s and 90s heyday, no matter what brand, no matter what federation or faction. Because this is headlining Mayhem. Mayhem. Courtesy of the U.H.O.A channel. YouTube, simulcast on Instagram. Check us out, pick us up, follow us, hit us up. My man El Presidente J Wall, Mr. Earth Somebody, aka Master of the Boards, and your man Chris, aka Apocalypse. Reminding y'all, don't forget that new one. You know I'm flipping that OG Trill style. Quit playing games, quit tripping with it, all right? Y'all need to get up on that shit ASAP. But Mr. Earth Somebody, if you could and if you would, if you really should, let's go out with a bang. Let's close out this headlining Mayhem edition with one last classic match under the WWF banner. If you are queued up, if you are ready to go, okay, DJ, I need you to bring that beat. I knew it! I knew it! I knew it!
Definitely remember this one.
Doom, doom, doom.
I gotta take a moment, fellas.
I definitely remember this one.
God, I swear.
Now, as you were talking about Andre the Giant passing the torch, I kind of felt the same way about this match right here. But Hulk Hogan was not willing to pass the torch.
Hogan, what? I ain't catch that last part.
Hogan was not willing to pass the torch.
Ah, yes. And do you know why?
Well, one thing I know that a lot of people didn't like Ultimate Warrior. A lot of the actual wrestlers didn't like him.
Right.
So, I mean, I would assume I don't know anything else beyond that.
Well, I'm just saying, like the basis that, you know, we've alluded to it. I hope as the show and the series continue, we will make references to it. There is a lot of backstabbing, not just on air, behind the scenes, particularly the 80s, 90s heyday. Once again, fans, we have to remind y'all, we have to reiterate, okay? We have to educate y'all. This.
Backstabber.
Y'all don't take it, J-Wall.
Hey, that's the jam, man. That's my joint.
I know it. But what I'm saying is that 80s, 90s heyday, another reason that period and the reason we focus on that period is so pivotal. That's when the big dollars started coming in, ladies and gentlemen. You understand what I'm saying? This is when professional wrestling went from back alley to the boardroom.
Dollar bills, y'all.
This is going into when, oh my God, you can buy shares of stock of these companies. I need y'all to understand the financial significance of this era that El Presidente J Wall, that Mr. Earth Somebody, the master of the boards, and that myself, Chris Irvin, aka Apocalypse, trying to school y'all on. Now, discussing the financial aspects of this era and how big this thing really is, this match ties into all that. I will connect all the dots. Just bear with me. Now, Mr. Earth Somebody, you alluded to the general, how would you say it, disliking of the Ultimate Warrior, courtesy of the other WWF roster members? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. You also alluded, or actually admitted, you're somewhat dumbfounded and not in an intelligence way. That is no attacking your intelligence or your character whatsoever. Yet you admitted you are dumbfounded. Where did this fervor, where did this resentment come from in regards to the Ultimate Warrior? All right. Long story short, because this is a familiar story in the twisted history of mayhem, as we affectionately call it, it's just plain old-fashioned jealousy. No long-winded Dr. Phil diagnosis needed here. The Ultimate Warrior had been a jobber in the independent circuit. I alluded to it before, with who actually became Sting. Okay. And basically came in with a lot of hype. Vince prepped him, Rinse Flim Flam, prepped him, groomed him, cooled and coddled him. A little future side note, when you think about the Ultimate Warrior's run, okay, does it remind you of the undefeated streak Goldberg later on had? Does anybody see the similarities in that? Anybody? No? No? J-Wall?
What was it? Similar to what?
Y'all remember Goldberg and his undefeated streak?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go back and do homework on the Ultimate Warrior, particularly his run going into this match. Okay. I always felt the Goldberg undefeated storyline, they ripped from the Ultimate Warrior storyline. Okay.
Probably so.
Okay.
I can see that.
Both men, when you talk about big physical specimen, yet athletic, could move. When the Ultimate Warrior got to running, man, bouncing off those ropes, all that momentum he could create. And this is a guy that Ultimate Warrior, we talking 6'3", 6'4".
And jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a jacked motherfucker, man.
The juice, as you called it, that good rig.
Yeah, you could tell the Ultimate Warrior had that motherfucking good D-ball. That motherfucker had that top-notch shit. I mean, that motherfucker, when he was like at his most yoked, I don't know if anybody looked as insanely ripped as that motherfucker did. Yeah, there's bigger motherfuckers, but that as far as being fucking shredded beyond belief, that motherfucker was on that good shit.
Super duper rig. Okay.
And the meanest ring intro in professional, one of the meanest ring intros in professional wrestling.
Yeah. And it wasn't overproduced or super choreographed. His music just queued up and he just came running from backstage and just ran the ramp, hops in the ring, berserker mode, grabbing the top rope, shaking them. Eventually he added climbing the turnbuckle to the second turnbuckle, beating his chest gorilla style. I mean, the Ultimate Warrior was just energy. Nothing but energy. Okay, his interviews, his promos. It's that guy was, he would need so much Valium to calm that goddamn. You know what I'm saying? Because he was so energetic. Like J-Wall, Mr. Earth, somebody alluded to, the physical specimen as well. Granted, we all know he didn't achieve that as far as a quote-unquote natural look. Yet and still, this match right here was totally out of control.
Yo, dude, hey, man, I love this shit. You just gave me the greatest fucking idea. So after we do headlining Mayhem WCW, we're gonna do a versus battle.
Okay.
And we're gonna and fuck Pitts Flim Flam.
Right.
We're gonna do it, and we're gonna see if we can get away with it. But
Okay.
interviews. We're gonna Ultimate Warrior and his interviews. Okay, so we're gonna do Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ultimate Warrior. Interview to interview.
So like a battle of the promos?
Yeah.
Okay. Because Macho Man was another super high intensity guy. Yeah.
Means nothing.
Man.
That's my favorite one, but that I will never
know,
forget Macho Man's "Nothing Means Nothing" promo. Oh my God! It is if you ever get a chance, put in Macho Man. Go to YouTube.
Okay.
Thank you, YouTube. Go to YouTube. Put in Macho Man's "Nothing Means Nothing." If you want a good fucking laugh, oh my God! You talk about having the good. Oh, that day, Macho Man, his main man came with that bag. He came with that bag. He took one hit of that. Nothing means nothing.
Man.
Well, you know what fucked me up as when I got older with the Macho Man and think about his promos and shit too. They told me in his house in Kentucky he had a whole room that was painted psychedelic, and he'd just sit in there and trip out on acid and shit when he wasn't wrestling. So if that happened, I have no clue if that's true or not. But if that happens to be true, when I think of like his cream of the crop promo and his delayed talk, like the cream of the crop, and the way he's doing it, like I feel like, dude, what if he's on acid and he's really just trying to really sort out something to say that doesn't seem too much like he's on acid.
Oh, I
You know
love
what I'm saying? And he's just
Macho
really
Man.
fucked up the whole time he's doing it. I'm like, that's very possible.
As far as now, LOD, the Road Warriors is my favorite tag team. But if I have to go with like my favorite solo professional wrestler, gotta go with Macho Man. I'm sorry, I gotta go with Macho Man just because now I don't know that may change the next 3 or 4 fucking mayhems that we do.
Okay.
But I just always feel like Macho Man like reflects like my kind of attitude on shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like Macho Man to me, man, that motherfucker boy, he is like when I love when he gets in those moments where he's like he's talking real low and then he revs himself up.
It's like he lulls you to sleep just to wake you up.
Yeah. Oh, I love the way he does that.
That's what I'm saying, though, man. Like, when he's doing shit like that, I feel like maybe he's high as fuck on acid. That's just how he's going through it.
Right. Well, look.
Out of nowhere, he just...
He's just tripping out talking.
Man, major sidetrack, y'all. But let's try to get back to this one real quick. When we talk about Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, y'all got issues, man. But
I took a couple hits of that blood and let me tell you.
Wow. Nothing says success like 8 balls and steroids. Nothing. That is the winning formula. You want to win in life. You want to win in life, particularly as far as if you're pursuing a professional wrestling career. All you need is 8 balls of coke and steroids. All right. J-Wall to get you out a winning formula.
I feel like that's a recipe for something for sure.
Right. But and so when you want to talk about steroids in this match, okay, really, Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, there's not that much fucking juice. You know what I'm saying? Like in the fruit section or wherever you get your orange. I mean, look at all that juice. Look at that shit. Juicy fruit.
What juice?
Starburst. Starburst.
Yeah.
Juice.
The motherfucker's jacked. Look at him.
I mean, look at all that.
Way that's the natural dude.
Look at all that juice, man. For real.
Who was more juiced?
Oh, right
Fucking
there.
Ultimate Warrior for
Yeah,
sure.
look at him. I mean, his muscles have muscles, for fuck's sake, dude. Look at that shit.
Yeah, that
He's so
motherfucker's back
jacked
and
that
his
nobody
shoulders.
talks
His
about him
back and
having
his
Cindy
shoulders
Lauper
are
hair.
not human.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Hogan was no slouch. Let's get that right.
You can be so jacked that you can wear high vis fucking fluorescent colors and have Cindy Lauper bitch hair and nobody says anything, you're jacked as fuck.
But it was the 80s. Everybody had kind of like Cindy Lauper type hair. So,
yeah, but the ones that wasn't jacked got beat the fuck up. Believe that.
Right. When you on that much juice, hell yeah. But
this was definitely the 80s, guys. This was 300 jack and fucking stacked pounds of man will be walking around in boxer shorts and fanny pack.
And smack the cold shit out of you.
And flip flops.
Don't forget the flip flops.
Don't forget the flip flops.
But what I'm saying is the dude that wasn't jacked and still trying to pull it off is the dude that got slapped.
Hell yeah. But Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, WrestleMania 6, another WrestleMania I allude to. We talk about WWF proceeding with that national push. Like I said, not just for wrestling, starting to spill over to that pop culture. You know, when you talk about appearances on Regis and Kathy Lee, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the events that led the WWF that way. And this match in particular, first there controversy actually, while Hogan, been solidified as champion. The Ultimate Warrior had been Intercontinental Champion for close to a year. We've mentioned before how the Intercontinental belt was essentially a number one contender's belt for the world title. A lot of people, and this would cause kind of like a split in the fan base because a lot of people in the industry and of course fans felt that the Hulkster, the Great American Hero, had essentially been ducking the Ultimate Warrior. Rich Flim Flam and others have been reluctant, particularly on their big shows up to this point, were reluctant to have a face versus face booking. That is definitely not a face versus face booking. That's a horror movie. Horror movie. But when you talk about the face heel dynamic that was really prevalent in the 80s, 90s heyday of wrestling, this match is one of the ones that broke that mold. It was really surprising this thing actually got booked. And I'm not even going to go into the match itself. I'm not even going to go into that aspect of it. I want people to understand the mega enormous significance of this match. And point one is people had heart attacks that this thing actually got signed. No secret between backstage WWF. That's a great shot. Test of strength. This was early in the match. That's just a great shot. It just is. And there's a height difference when you talk about Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. I mean, Hogan's 6'7", and I think the Warrior's a shade over 6 foot. Maybe 6'2", maybe. But like I said, first and foremost, the shock waves throughout the wrestling industry. Okay, this is one of those events and matches that affected the business. So yes, at some capacity, this affected WCW. At some capacity, this influenced the early days of what became ECW. Okay. Like I said, once again, Rich Flim Flam more than reluctant throughout his tenure to book face versus face matches, and particularly the bigger the match and the bigger the possibilities, the more reluctant he would be to do that booking. There was no getting around this one. Fans have been demanding it. Wrestling Insiders. So well-known publications, PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. That was actually my top go-to wrestling publication through a good chunk of the 80s and 90s, all right? Maintained it with actual subscription with them for pretty much my entire teens. Okay. So yeah, this booking alone sent mega enormous shockwaves throughout the entire industry. So now the match is signed. No getting around it. It's going down. Similar to the Mega Powers and Hogan and Savage at WrestleMania 5. Once again, actually the very next year. This is WrestleMania 6. The very next year. Once again, you have a fan favorite versus fan favorite. And it's a split fan base. If you have the traditional Hulkamaniacs who had seen, the inception and the rise of Hogan, when you talk about his first title, securing his first title, his first world title against the Iron Sheik, the political backdrop of that match, the inauguration of the great American hero, saying your prayers and eating your vitamins, Hulk Hogan. So while that fan base was strong, the Ultimate Warrior's fan base had blossomed into a movement. Okay. A lot of people say similar and like it to WrestleMania. Warrior was an enigmatic figure, really charismatic, like I said, full of energy. That guy was literally one big ball of energy. All right. So the match is signed. It is WrestleMania. It is 1991. This is WrestleMania 6. Another nice tidbit. This match, believe it or not, was a unification match due to the Ultimate Warrior's incredible Intercontinental title reign and securing that world title opportunity against Hulk Hogan. No more ducking, no more dodging. We're going to see who's the best for real. Similar to Savage and Hogan the year before. Fan bases are split. Who's going to be the top man in the industry? Blah, blah, blah. And literally, it was also billed champion versus champion. A very rare oddity in wrestling, particularly at that time. Okay. So you got the Intercontinental Champion, the Ultimate Warrior, and the WWF World Heavyweight Champion, Hulk Hogan, locking horns in a epic, classic battle. Okay. Eventually, the Ultimate Warrior did prevail. Another one of my favorite shots or moments from that match was at the end. I do believe he was in the ring during his celebration. I believe there were some fireworks at some point, but there's just a really great shot of him holding both belts. And it's unprecedented at its time. It really made for really great drama when you talk about wrestling being that ultimate male soap opera. Like I said, the fan base is being split. But Rance Flim Flam making a great business move and finally booking this match. And you got to give it up to the participants as well. I mean, this is another match. If you can go back and actually, there it is. That shot right there, man. I personally was proud because I noticed me personally going into the 90s and starting to become fans of characters like The Undertaker, like Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man. You talk about WCW, it's guys like Flair. I started being more of a heel guy. And while Hogan was regarded as a fan favorite, he was always a heel to me. I got a good understanding young of a lot of the politics. When you talk about the shaping of characters, the way they were reflecting things in America at that time. And to me, Ultimate Warrior signified the changing of the guard. As we alluded to Hogan and Andre the Giant for WrestleMania 3, just a few years before. When you think about 91, I can't help but think about Kurt Cobain. I can't help but think about the first time I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit. You know, Nirvana. You know, being a product of the 80s and didn't know where rock music was going at the time, coming out of the Hurricane era, and with Nirvana ushering a new sound. To me, the Ultimate Warriors defeating Hulk Hogan and kind of putting a wrestle to Hulkamania at that time. Simultaneous title holder. Yeah, this is definitely how you usher in a new generation, a new breed. Ultimate Warrior, no doubt. You know, one of the all-time favorites. You know, the run was brief but significant. And this match is definitely has to be his personal career highlight. Sending Hogan packing. You know, it's put a smile. It did. Mr. Hurt Somebody. If we're gonna do ringside confessions, whatever, I have no problem saying it. The only person that could have been happier outside of the Ultimate Warrior was me.
And if I'm not wrong, would you say that once the Ultimate Warrior won that, would that be kind of like when Hulk beat Andre, as far as that ushered in kind of the next like fold of wrestlers, the next kind of generation that come in after that?
Right. Like I said, with the wrestling, with this being 91, and like I said, that's the year Nirvana broke.
Yeah.
And that's why I use that analogy and comparing them breaking and exposing the mainstream to something new, something that had been brewing. You know what I'm saying? I have to use the Ultimate Warrior's victory over Hulk Hogan at that WrestleMania, you know what I'm saying, in that same realm, that same analogy. Like you said, you know, bringing in that new generation. No, this was 94. This was WrestleMania. No, that year was 94. But what I'm saying is bringing in that new generation, quote unquote, toppling the old guard, creating a revolution.
Yeah.
You know, creating a movie. Go ahead and speak on it, Mr. Hurt Somebody. Hello?
Mr. Somebody.
Hurt. Chime in, bro.
What up, man?
Okay.
What's up?
Now, you were about to say something, bro.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. Well, thoughts, feelings? Do you remember this match, or are you familiar with it?
Now, what I will say about this match that I remember is the fact that I was surprised that Ultimate Warrior won. Because, I felt at the time that I was young and I was still riding the Hulkamania train. And I would say that I was surprised that there would I was surprised that he lost.
Right.
But I understood it because I kind of felt like at that time that both of them had the same star power.
Right.
I think Ultimate Warrior was more explosive to me. I felt that Hulkamania was old, but I felt like it was so like big that it couldn't be beat. You know what I'm saying, at that time. So
Well,
so it was a surprise when he won both of the belts.
Right. Well, like I said, I mean, the booking, the actual booking alone just set shockwaves. The fact that this match was actually finally going to happen, billing a champion versus champion, you know, the established top dog Hulk Hogan, and and now you got the new young gun Ultimate Warrior. Okay, it was kind of Hogan's swan song in a way because this was going into his signing with WCW. So when you talk about your surprise in regards to Hogan losing, like I said, this was going into his WCW signing. I mean, you guys know guys like Savage, Hall and Nash eventually followed. So in that regards, it's kind of a swan, his WWF swan song. But still, okay, personal feelings aside, just as a fan, this is actually one of my favorite matches of all time. You know, and a lot of it had to do with things outside the ring. We talk about backstage, you know, the envy and jealousy of this new gun versus the established guard, Hulk Hogan. You know, the way he captured the audience, you know, as far as the Ultimate Warrior. And he was a whirlwind, man. He was a storm. Okay. And defeating Hulk Hogan, like I said, while the Ultimate Warrior's run was kind of brief, you know, I always felt his career was cut short. This win was like the pinnacle of that, you know. But like I said, as a match, it's just one of my favorite matches just to watch. The choreography, you know what I'm saying, picking and choosing your spots, the changing of the tempo as far as who's having the advantage, things of that nature. You can see they're definitely trying to outdo each other. You know, no doubt, man. You know, the level of competitiveness when it comes to the performance, okay, just since the outcome is predetermined, there's still the performance that the wrestlers have to provide. Not just this, each and every match. All right. And these two guys laid it on the line, tooth and nail. All right. Blood, sweat, and tears, all those cliches, you know, when you talk about just two giants finally facing off. Dream match. You know, I alluded to Public Pro Wrestling Illustrated, PWI. They did several articles throughout the 80s and 90s on dream matches and how they felt it would go down. This is a match, like I said, a lot of people didn't think it was going to happen. It did happen. And with the Ultimate Warrior prevailing, the holding of multiple championships between his Intercontinental Championship, WWF Championship. I'm sure y'all know that he was forced to vacate the IC title with Vince Flim Flam deeming no wrestler can hold multiple titles simultaneously. A tournament was held. And if I remember correctly, I believe Shawn Michaels was crowned new Intercontinental Champion. Definitely got some more homework to do. But in the meantime, in between time,
I think you're right about that.
Yeah. But in the meantime, yeah, because I think that's when he first brought in Big Daddy Cool. I think it was King of the Ring. When was the first King of the Ring, maybe? Maybe King of the Ring? 94?
I think you're right. I think you're right. We're going to have to research that to make sure.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats, dogs, chickens, and rats, you know we do our homework. You know we do our diligence. We do our research. Okay. We have 2 weeks in between shows, more than enough time to access the proper information, kind of filter it down a little bit because we got to remind you. We have to remind you, all right? No matter what the subject matter of the episode of Mayhem we produce, we do we, okay? Just like the show itself and producing it and airing it and things of that nature, you know, can't nobody do it by themselves, you know what I mean? So we, myself, and Mr. Irk Somebody, a.k.a. Master of the Boards, okay? We do extensive research, all right? It's like anything else with the internet. The information is easy to access. It's just there's so much of it. Irk, you know, I alluded to it.
We do so much research. We do so much research.
Tell them, bro. Let them know I ain't fucking lying.
We do so much research that we speak to El Presidente about taking a short little nap before the show and falling asleep 20 minutes before the show and having to be woke up by El Presidente in shock and surprise, like, oh shit, it's 9:36.
Right.
That's how much research we do, folks.
Right.
You should appreciate this shit.
Yeah, like we said, you know, we want this to be fun, entertaining, yet, you know, it's factual. All right, these are just our thoughts and feelings and recalling these events. That's why we don't get into like necessarily all time lists. We want to create a forum and more conversation and not necessarily a debate. You know, if you want debate, okay, watch Meet the Press or some shit like that. This is motherfucking Mayhem. This is motherfucking Monday Night Mayhem. This is how J-Wall, this is how Mr. Earth Somebody and yours truly, Apocalypse, y'all see me throwing it up. This is how we choose to put it down, okay? So just a little quick wrap up when you talk about Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior, WrestleMania 6. Hogan versus Andre the Giant, that is WrestleMania 3. And I will remind y'all, I feel the first true great WrestleMania, the WrestleMania that broke the mold, the WrestleMania that helped spill the WWF in this industry into pop culture. Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, historic on so many levels. Wait, almost forgot. Okay. Hogan versus Savage, former friends. What do they call it on Seinfeld? Frenemies. Okay, at the time, the two biggest names, not just in the company, but in the industry. All right, a la WrestleMania 5. And yes, that was for the WWF Championship. There is Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. Hey, yo. A.K.A. Sky Hall.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Yeah, and he said it with a slur.
Ass Latino.
Yeah, but why did he say it with such a slow, turtle paced slur? Like, hey.
But I love the way he said it because, like, when he was talking, he's like, hey, y'all. It's like, is he trying to sell me some vaca fritas? Or is he trying to sell me a meatball sub? I can't tell, motherfucker. I can't tell.
So he can't play a good Hispanic or a good Italian, right?
He's bowling down the center.
Damn, I love your summation of the Razor Ramon character. I love how you put that spin on it because it's so cheesy, it's so bad, and that's why it worked. Irk, you asked me earlier, how did something like this work? That's how. It was so cheesy. It was so blatantly, overtly racist. Okay, it was so stereotypical and typecast that it worked. But like I said, this is a historic match, the first ladder match in WWF history. You think about going on later on, TLC, table ladders and chairs, Edge Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys. So when you talk about future matches down the line in that capacity, remember, it's for the WWF. It started with the ladder match, and their first ladder match was Razor Ramon, was the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. By the way, there it is. I believe this was the final. Yeah, there it is. Man, that's one of my favorite shots from the match, for real. Intercontinental title was on the line. Okay. So that was the fourth match we discussed as far as 5 really awesome WWF matches. And last but damn so not least. Really? I mean, what do I got to say about Foley and The Undertaker and the second Hell in a Cell match in the history of this company? I mean, what can I say about it? What do I need to say? It's Foley. Okay, the human wrecking ball. This man, through the duration of his career, took so much damage. Staple guns. Okay, flaming ring ropes. Because a lot of his career was outside the American Federation.
Self-inflicted staple guns.
Self-inflicted. Yeah, thank you for that clarification. Self-inflicted staple gun. Okay, barbed wire bats. Okay, ring ropes on fire. Going through tables, chair shots, you name it. This guy took it. And proof of how much he took it. If you doubted anything about Mick Foley's career up to that point, you had no doubt of how much damage that man could take if you watch Hell in a Cell, June 98.
And if I'm not mistaken, he's probably the first professional wrestler to bring a back covered in barbed wire to a ring.
Yes. Early inspiration, what I feel is the character Negan. When you talk about Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I actually am a fan of the comic. I was a fan of the comic way before the show. I think Negan's first appearance in the comic, I want to say mid-50s issue. But the first time I seen that back, I'm like, That's Foley. You flash forward to years later, shows on the air, and premiering Negan's character, and to see Lucille live and in color, I couldn't help but once again think about the maniacal Mick Foley. Okay. Hell in a Cell is not a WWF classic. Hell in a Cell is an all-time wrestling classic, taking wrestling to new heights. The structure itself. I remember the first Hell in a Cell match the year before with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. And the cell itself, you know, up to that point, unlike any structure that had been built for a wrestling match. You know, I think about the scaffold matches, you know, Midnight Express and Road Warrior. You know, a vertical match of this magnitude, because it's the verticality, ladies and gentlemen. That cell from the bottom to standing on the top. When you stand on the top of that cell, you're close, basically 30 feet up. And for these two guys to give us the performance they gave, the toll on both their bodies, you know, but as Mr. or somebody pointed out, Taker wasn't going off that cell. He wasn't going off the top of that cell. So chucking Foley off the top of the cell, on you know, through the announce table, Foley laying there motionless for several minutes, and to get up and continue the match, to then take a choke slam through the weak point of the top of the cell, another 20-plus foot fall the man had to take, and to finish the match, taking a choke slam, a hellish choke slam delivered by The Undertaker, landing on a bevy of tacks that he had placed earlier in the match. You can see the blood. You know, you can see the tacks piercing through his shirt, piercing through his skin, that bloody, hairy mess of a body, a carcass of a body just laying there. Hell in a Cell is still, to this day, one of the toughest matches for me to watch. Okay? It just is. It's a tough match to watch. It's a level of physicality that today more than impresses me. Both men deliver a hell of a performance. Memories, generations of memories are made from this match, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So for all you wrestling historians, fans, you know, new school, this is definitely one of the matches I don't recommend. Just to hurt somebody, I don't recommend it. I'm pulling my man card on this one. I don't recommend you watch this match. If this is college, this is school, this is required reading. All right? There ain't no cheating with no Cliff Notes on this match. Feel me? You know, some of you fuckers, I don't know if y'all ready for that exam. But when you talk about going to school and discussing headlining Mayhem, this is one of the matches that is required reading. You won't pass this course, all right? Real talk. There it is. Love the graphic. Once again, Mr. Earth Somebody doing a mega enormously fine job as always. Always reliable, always dependent. Okay. Helping the U.H.O.A channel, not just with headlining, not just with Mayhem, my show, all shows. Truck Stop Story, Catberry Tale, The Shit Show, okay, Knee Slappers, all that. We owe a mega enormous thanks to the master of the boards, Mr. Hurt Somebody. And last but not least, El Presidente, J Wall, you still in the building.
U.H.O.A.
U.H.O.A. Thoughts and memories on Hell in a Cell real quick before we wrap it up?
I mean, it's like I said earlier, man. I just remember watching that, and that's when I was like, man, that to me is when this motherfucker Mick Foley gets like all the motherfucking respect in the world for me. I was like, this man took a fucking brutal beating, thrown off the cage, slammed through the cage again, kept on going. I mean, I thought that motherfucker was dead when he threw him off the first time. I was like, well, there goes that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here's the thing, not to get thrown off the cage, because that's some shit. That's some shit for anybody.
Yeah.
But to then continue to wrestle after that. That's some shit. You know what I mean? I would imagine most people be like, all right, if you throw me off her, that's the end of the match.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've said my favorite moment is the choke slam through the top of the cell. I understand when you discuss this match with fans, their favorite moment is the first one. Because they call it the two great balls of Foley. All right. But that first one, Taker has to chuck him off the top of the cell. Even without the luxury of motion video due to restrictions, a la wrench flam flam. If you can just look at the still shot of the Undertaker about to toss Foley off the top of that cell. One of the really awesome things that I alluded to earlier is the announce table is not directly beneath the cell. It is a couple of feet. So you're going outward. It's not straight down. You're literally being thrown outward. I don't want to think about the math and the physics that were required to nail this, because this is something you can't rehearse. You know, you can't rehearse this.
I'd imagine nobody involved in that shit put any type of math or physics.
Okay,
they were like, hey, bro,
we
got an idea.
Can you do it? We got to do it one more time.
Motherfucker's going to throw you off the top of that cage. You down? And he was like, yep. I think that's all the physics that went into that shit.
Yeah, there ain't no rehearsing that, dude. Yeah. Can you imagine? You get thrown off there the first time, and then somebody's directing, like, nope, it's not right. We're gonna have to do it again.
Yeah. No, I love storyline that they went with. They're like, all right, so here's what we're gonna do, bro. He gonna throw you off the top of the cage, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, then you gonna get back up there, and he gonna choke slam you through the same goddamn cage one more time. He's like, all right, bet.
Like, okay.
Like, hold on, bro. What? Twice, motherfucker.
Yeah, this is one of the things I would get into it, you know, with people and talking wrestling. Y'all know type people talking about.
We're gonna choke slam you off the goddamn gate, and if the first one doesn't kill you,
the next one will.
Yeah, we're just gonna try it one more time. Yeah, you know
right. Well, like I was saying, man, you know,
here's one thing. I hope Mick Foley made more money than the Undertaker on that shit, because he obviously had the more shit into that job.
Right. But like I said, man, you know, when I would discuss wrestling, you know, and get into those conversations with people who are not fans of it.
You know what I just thought about?
What's that? Quick? What you think about?
You absolutely know that there was no question, like no fucking suit that sits at a desk ever thought about asking fucking the Undertaker, hey, you want to get like slammed off the 20-foot motherfucking. Like, you didn't go to Undertaker. Like, you thought it was easy. This is how psycho you are. Mm-hmm. You thought it was easier to go to Foley and get that off. And it was like, nah, we're not gonna ask. Well, a
lot of that, a lot of that had to do with Taker already being an established star. Okay, and when you talk about the early days of Rince Flim Flam reluctantly hiring performers from the other company, okay, this is another example of him making business personal. Now, even if you were just a WWF fan, like I said, if you follow professional wrestling, you knew Mick Foley's credo. You knew his pedigree. Okay, you knew his resume. All right. Yet still, Rince is gonna make you pay dues. Okay. So we talk about a couple of mid-card appearances to kind of just get that fan familiarity. You know, the way of billing him and booking him and being able to take that much pain. You know, is this someone the Undertaker can defeat? You talk about creating their storyline. Later on, that same year, I want to say SummerSlam. That same year is when they had you guys remember the Boiler Room Brawl they had?
What was it? The what brawl?
Do y'all remember the Boiler Room Brawl between the Undertaker and Mankind?
Yeah, I do. I remember all the promos for that and shit.
That was basically the follow-up to this Hell in a Cell match, okay? One of the major ways Rich Flim Flam inserted Foley, you know what I'm saying, with like I said, after a couple of mid-card appearances, basically to line him up in a rivalry with the Undertaker. Okay. And
yeah, because they were pinning it like Undertaker was like the dark Undertaker, like, you know, evil demonic dude, but like Mankind was kind of like dark and fucked up too. But like Mankind was almost more like the Joker.
Right.
Type of guy, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and when you talk about
Ledger, like Heath Ledger Joker, you know, like he's fucked up, like the Undertaker's fucked up, but he's like, I'm willing to go the extra mile.
There's absolutely Batman. There's absolutely J-Wall, you're on the money. There's absolutely Batman and Joker symbology going on right there.
Right.
Absolutely.
Which is weird because
I remember that watching that, them play that off of it. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, the Undertaker's like crazy, fucked up, dark, and scary, but then it's like, then there's this real crazy motherfucker.
I mean, what do they call the Batman? They call the Batman what? The Dark Knight. What do they call Death? Death is what? The Dark Knight.
You know, and see, J-Wall, you alluded to it earlier. This Undertaker, when you talk about different iterations of the Undertaker, this is my all-time favorite. This is the Ministry Undertaker. Okay, this is one of the rare times, you know, he had a click. You know, I can't believe you brought back that Bone Street shit a few shows back, J-Wall. That's a moment in Undertaker history I still want to forget. But this was the second time. Yes, God, that was horrible. But this Ministry Taker, okay, this is my favorite version of the Undertaker, particularly storyline wise. This is post Paul Bearer. This is them really tapping into these darker storylines. This is going into the Undertaker and the Ministry kidnapping Stephanie, you know, and your boy Stone Cold saving her ass. This is when
the Acolytes and Edge.
Okay, yes, because this was his last click. It's when he introduced
who was the dude, the blonde dude that was like the fucking
the wannabe vampire. That's Gangrel.
Yeah,
Gangrel. Yeah. But yeah, when you see him, Gangrel, Edge, and Christian, they were actually introduced as a faction known as the Brood.
Yeah.
Okay. Big Daddy V.
I so remember that.
Look, if you can go back after the show at any time, fellas, you know, however you got to find it, you know, YouTube, whatever. Now, Gangrel sucked between his character and as a wrestler. Yet, as the Brood, I thought they had one of the dopest intros. Okay. So, you know, we talking about a little post-show tidbit on a personal level. You know, more than welcome to check that out. But yeah, this is the last time they had Taker in a click setting. This is the Ministry Undertaker, my favorite Undertaker. So, like I said, you talking about Gangrel, Edge, and Christian as the Brood, Big Daddy V, Viscera.
Yeah, Viscera. Yeah, the dude, the Mohawk.
Right.
Big old motherfucker. He used to wear the Missy Elliott. I can't stand the rain.
Right, yeah, the big Missy Elliott balloon suit.
It's my window. He looked just like that bitch in the video when he wore that shit.
There was one more member of the ministry, Midian. He was supposed to be the seer because he wore like that weird third eye paint on his forehead. Okay, but that Hell in a Cell match. This is going to that Ministry Undertaker, my favorite Undertaker, and Foley gives the performance of a lifetime, and I mean that literally. because it's very easy for that man to be severely injured, let alone die during that match. That match just has too many holy shit moments. Okay. But it's a great match. It's one of my favorite matches of all time. It's definitely one of my favorite Undertaker matches of all time. It's one of my favorite Foley matches of all time. I think a lot of WWF fans just hated on Foley initially. Something I noticed going into the late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of WWF/WWE fans, they kept tabs on WCW. They did, and they know they did. Fans knew Mick Foley. If you follow wrestling, you knew Mick Foley. Even if you were this hardcore WWF, groupie, and that's the only wrestling program, you knew who Mick Foley was. His signing was a big deal. This match signified the big deal that Mick Foley truly is. Okay, not just as a wrestling talent physically, but as a personality. Those three faces of Foley. Cactus Jack, Foley, Dude Love. You know what I'm saying? I love that whole thing. Later on, to do the whole Rock and Sock connection with The Rock. You know what I'm saying? But to usher in his inception, to be enveloped in that massive level of darkness, and to be one to challenge The Undertaker. Hell in a Cell, man, 98, it goes down. And like I said, another quick tidbit. This is the first of several specialty matches that me, Mark Calloway, a.k.a. The Undertaker himself, designed and devised. Okay, Hell in a Cell, casket match, Buried Alive, Inferno match, okay? But this is the first specialty match he specifically designed, okay? This is Taker's baby, all right? Another reason I'm into this match so hard originally and still to this day. So any parting thoughts or comments from the panel?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Okay.
Very enlightening, sir, on a lot of topics. The motherfucking Hulk Hogan and his many variations tonight, I thought was kind of cool to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because of the 5 matches we discussed, he's in 3 of them.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if you just think about it, like I said, like him like ushering in the new guard against fucking Andre, and then him kind of like ushering himself out as the old guard against the Ultimate Warrior, and then like the fucking the battle of the lovers' quarrel with him and the Macho Man. I think my favorite take from tonight was when I was thinking about the Macho Man being on acid and talking to people. And I honestly and truly think that we need to somehow make that like some kind of a video skit type situation.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I think we should figure out a way to edit him talking and make it like random everyday conversations with people. I think it'll be hilarious.
That is very psychedelic of you, El Presidente.
Like Macho Man fucked up on acid ordering a pizza.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you right now, brother, I need the pepperoni.
What kind of pizza do you think Macho Man will order? Like, as far as the topping?
I think he's a wild boy. I'm thinking he's definitely got some pineapple on the joint.
See, I was thinking that too.
And then I'm thinking, I think he's going crazy with it. I think this motherfucker's he might even put some some anchovies on it on half of it, because he's on acid. We're thinking at this point that he's always on acid. And then the other half of it, he's going like ham sausage, like he's trying to get his protein in shit.
So like half meat lovers, half God knows what.
Yeah, half pineapple and anchovy, like when he's really in the acid, you know what I mean?
Because the reoccurring theme is this is Macho Man ordering a pizza on acid.
On acid. Yeah.
Man, that would have probably had to been that person's strangest pizza delivery ever.
Yeah.
Like ever. For real. Mr. Irk Somebody, master of the boards. Parting shots of comments. Yes, no, none. Fuck you, Chris. I mean, Irk.
Yeah.
Any last comments?
No, I'm good, man.
You good?
Let's ride it for now.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you chiming in, viewing in, checking us out. Like I said, not just Mayhem, but all the other shows available, courtesy of the U.H.O.A channel. You know, we up and running, and we're just trying to get ourselves out there and network. You know, put a little smile on your face, and trying to capture an audience and see what's good. As Mr. Irk Somebody reminded y'all, 2 weeks from tonight on the next edition of Mayhem, we will revisit this subject as far as headlining Mayhem. Okay, all you want to be main event motherfuckers, y'all want to come back and have a shot at headlining Mayhem? No problem, because 2 weeks from tonight, we will do the same thing. The difference is we will be discussing 5 really awesome and classic WCW matches. All right, Mr. Irk Somebody has already let you guys know there will be more than enough homework to do between these 2 weeks, because while I sent him a list today, I'm going to do a little backtracking. See if I can maybe find a nice round number. I gave him 5, so another 5 would be 10. And maybe through those 10, we can break down 5 really outstanding matches discussing under the WCW banner. 2 weeks from tonight, headlining Mayhem will return. I am your gracious host, your man, Chris, a.k.a. Apocalypse. And as you notice, my bladder was under control tonight because I kept the alcoholic libations to a minimum. You know, I try to learn my lesson. I try to learn from my mistakes, but there is no telling whether it's Mayhem, whether it's Truck Stop Story, whether it's Cadbury's Tale, whether it's the shit show. There is no telling when I am on Earn Live and my bladder needs to be relieved. All right, so ain't no telling when and if it's gonna happen. Another reason for y'all to tune in and check us out. All right, 2 weeks from tonight, once again, we will be revisiting headlining Mayhem, discussing 5 beyond classic BW matches. I got a really good list, but we're gonna sign off. Everybody has their prior commitments to get back to attending to. We just wanted to take a little time, make your day a little brighter, make your evening a little brighter with another motherfucking edition of Monday Night Mayhem, Headliners Edition. Back 2 weeks from tonight, Headliners Edition, version 2, WCW style. Mr. Irk Somebody, the master of the boards, and El Presidente J Wall. Yes, JD, we still got an APB out on him. I guess he's on a milk cart somewhere. We don't know. But we will return in true U.H.O.A form 2 weeks from tonight. Headlining Mayhem version 2, WCW style. Mr. Irk Somebody, master of the boards, J Wall, El Presidente. We thank you. Mr. Irk Somebody, if you could, please take us out. All right, everybody.
El Presidente! Woo! My God. Let's go. Yeah! United Hard Hats of America. If you a real man, motherfucker, stand up. Grace your cup, grab your nuts, that's your character. Hard hats around here is all we wearing, bro. That's your call, big, call me J Wall. You can tear it up and I don't give a fuck, bro. We gon' man up, and if they ask who did it, we gon' stand up. Any motherfucker got a problem, put their hands up. Woo! You got something to say? Hit the app today. We gratefully appreciate all the comments and the calls, so please be safe. Greet the show right, y'all. Hey, what we say now? You on